Councilmember Sanchez,
Here.
Councilmember Ibarra,
Present.
Councilmember Figueroa,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Charette, Councilmember Reynoso, Councilmember Calvin,
Present.
Councilmember Alexander is not here. He's on the way, okay. And Mayor Tran will not be here. She is currently under the weather.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any public speakers for closed session items?
Yes, we have 4.
We have 4. When your name is called, would you please come up to the podium? And you have 3 minutes.
Dr. Joshua Beckley, Dr. Treasure Ortiz, Les, and Pastor Ray Turner.
Good evening, council members. It's good to see you this evening. Praying for you regularly. I know you got a great task in front of you all the time. I'm just here to speak on the item B of your closed session. Just want to make sure that since we have lost the candidate that you were supposed to present tonight, we would love to hear what your plans are and what you plan to do moving forward in terms of getting back, finding candidates that are going to be qualified to serve our city in this position. So I'm here to encourage you to do that and let you know that we're supportive of you in that, and we'll be watching and wanting to keep our ear to the ground and watching the process to make sure that we get somebody in this place that's going to follow through with the plan that we've approved. So thank you. That's all my comments for now.
Good evening, Council. So it's been quite a couple weeks and quite a couple months with this recruitment, and now you've had 2 candidates pull out. And there's a lot of talk in the Inland Empire. It doesn't look good. And this is in the moment that you guys are working very hard, Fred, very hard, in your strategic plan and putting your priorities together. And what we see is that there's an instance of chaos. And you guys can steady the waters. And I believe that you can. But that means taking time to find the right candidate. Taking the time to make sure that everything that you want to happen can still happen. And whoever you're going to bring on board is going to fulfill your wants and desires, is going to do what's in the best interest of our community. Because what we've seen is that this recruitment process, what has happened with people talking and calling and all that stuff that's been out on social media, that's not good for us. It's the least productive thing in bringing someone that we want here for 10 to 15 years, not another 16 to 18 month stint. So I'm asking you guys, as a resident of our community, as someone who's here with you, I see what you're doing, and the best way that I see that you guys can help yourselves is that you take your time. Do not rush your process for anybody. You don't have to. Charles is here. You've got a team together. Well, he's not here tonight. I don't know where he went. But for the most part, Charles is here as part of this city. So please don't do anything that's going to rock the boat right now, because we really can't take it. We really can't, especially with everything you guys have got going on the agenda. Thank you.
Les. First, I want to say, Councilwoman Calvin, I appreciate you. When the re-election come, you definitely have my vote. Reynoso, I appreciate you too, because in that other closed session, I know you, Councilwoman Calvin, wanted to bring it to the open session for the public to talk about it. But Theodore Sanchez, he was quick to shoot it down. So this left side, Theodore Sanchez all the way to Mr. Fred, y'all have your own agenda. And the agenda didn't work out. So y'all might as well just bring it to open session, hear what the people got to say about picking a city manager. Because that city manager, no one wanted that guy. Just to recap for the people that's listening out there, the city manager withheld important information, he misused COVID funds, and he got voted out 6-1 from the city that he was at. So we don't want him. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say.
Pastor Ray Turner, business owner in the city, resident for over 27 years, and I'm just tired of the way our city is going. We've been having this same battle over and over Again, I'm getting tired of going to Rancho Cucamonga when I want a decent place to go out. I'm getting tired of my grandkids have to go to Fontana to play sports. It's time for the city council to think about the best interests of the city. We've done extensive searches. I don't understand why we can't come up with a competent city manager. Mr. McNeely have put together a plan. The community have looked at that plan and in great favor of that plan. And so my concern is what's going to happen to the plan while we're waiting to hire another city manager. I don't know if Mr. McNeely wants to, or even if he's eligible, I wouldn't want him myself, but my question is, have you considered what we're going to do in the interim while we're looking at not having a city manager? Mr. McNeely wrote the plan. It's a good plan, and I would encourage the city council to start implementing that plan with him for as long as he's here. I would encourage you to keep him here as long as he's willing to or able to stay here, because he's demonstrated that he's competent. I remember when he was here the first time, and it was politics that got him out of the city the first time. We've got a good man. I know he can't be our permanent city manager, but I would encourage you to hang on to him as long as you can, to implement a plan that the community have already looked at and feel good about it. And please, let's stop looking for my guy for the city manager. Let's look for the best person for this city. And, and let's put the politics aside. Let's stop fighting each other. Let's come together and make San Bernardino a great city again that it can be. And so I'm really hoping that, Fred, that you would take the lead, because, you've been on both sides of the fence. I've watched you for a long time. You've invested a lot in this city, and I know that you want the best for this city, but I'm concerned about some of the decisions that you're making, and I pray that you would get back to where you once was when it comes to caring for this city. Thank you for your time.
Al Palazzo.
Yes. I would like to be city manager. Give me a few minutes. I don't have the experience to run departments specifically. You have people on staff. I will delegate that. I am a visionary. Give me 3 hours of your time. I would like to work with Mr. McNeely. I will accept his ideas, and I will expand his ideas to uncover 1,000 square blocks. 3 hours of your time. It will take an hour, half an hour to go to Rancho and half an hour to come back. I can rebuild this whole city. There are 2 people on the council who have taken my tour. They know what I'm talking about. But it's been years since you've taken my tour. The update that I can give you, I never have shared with anybody. I told you 2 weeks ago, I dreamed this stuff. I don't know why. Mario Porras, my mentor, who was chosen to be on our float in the 70s or 80s for the Rose Parade, couldn't sleep at night when I would share my ideas. He would call me and say, Al, how do you come up with these ideas? And I say, it's because I love San Bernardino, because I've had my professional training, all that development in the west side of the county. It was my responsibility to evaluate for those cities. And from the time I was hired in 1973, I asked the question, if you could rebuild San Bernardino, how would you do it? I speak in the Socratic method. That's an example. I give you a question and I give you an answer. I will guarantee you everything I say, I will tell you how it will be paid for, and not with government money. I'm a free market capitalist, but I'm fighting for social justice, affordable housing for the young. That's what motivates me. I've been very fortunate. I come up here and say I want a Regents scholarship. That's the highest honor you can get going to UC as a freshman. At that time, I was told there was only 100 in the state of California. I said, I don't deserve this. Well, now I know why, because my teachers saw something on me. And for 50 years, I've been coming here 3 hours of your time. And then you answer the question, can I be city manager? And I won't accept a penny more than the mayor makes. And I don't know how much she makes. You don't have to pay me $300,000. Now, what else can I say? You said we need to think outside the box a few meetings ago. That's what I do. Think outside the box. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now adjourn to close. Good evening to everyone, and thank you for joining us here tonight. Our mayor is out ill, and lucky for you, you get me to deal with tonight. So I run a tight ship, and I want everyone to understand that. Just kidding. I welcome you here tonight, and I appreciate the full house. So we're looking forward to some awards and some recognitions, and so that's great for us tonight. Can we have roll call, please?
Councilmember Sanchez.
Here.
Councilmember Ibarra.
Present.
Councilmember Figueroa. Here. Mayor Pro Tem.
Hi, I'm here.
Yes. Councilmember Reynoso.
Here.
Councilmember Calvin.
Present.
Councilmember Alexander
Here.
is here, and Mayor Tran is out today.
Okay, thank you very much. And to the city attorney, do we have anything to report out of closed session?
Mayor, council members, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, members of the public, we did have 2 closed session items this evening, but no reportable action.
Okay, thank you very much. And I'd like to just remind everybody that we want to maintain as much decorum here as we can tonight and respect both sides of the dais, and we'll respect you and you respect us, and we can keep the business of the city going. Thank you. We'll start tonight with presentations. We have a Citizen of the Month 5 times, I think. Councilmember Ibarra will be recognizing. Oh, I'm sorry. I missed the most important part. The invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Thank you. Please stand. Well, who's doing it?
Reverend Deborah Jones, and for the pledge, we'll have Joshua Alamares Miranda from Belvedere Elementary.
Thank you for your help on that. I apologize. Yeah, invocation first.
Okay, hold on.
Let's start singing.
Oh, we don't have somebody here? Can I, I'm sorry? Pastor Beckley, are you in the house? Would you lead us in an invocation?
Let us pray. Our Father and our God, again, we thank you for the opportunity to gather together to do the business of the city. We pray that you grant wisdom to our council, and we pray tonight that the business of our city will be conducted in a way that benefits us all. We pray that you govern and guide these proceedings today, and that as you said in your word, the king's heart is in your hands. Turn it whithersoever you desire. We pray today that our minds will be governed and guided by you. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you very much.
Put your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated.
Thank you very much. So now we will move on to our presentation. And Ms. Ibarra will be making a presentation for Citizen of the Month.
For this month, I will be recognizing 5 businesses within the second ward that have done an exceptional job in our city with our citizens. So when I call your name, please come up. First, I'm gonna bring up Manal Eskandar from Green Shack. Next, I have Nick and Costas Kritikos from Georgia's Burgers. Third Citizen of the Month will be Maisie Yin from Mega Sushi. And lastly, who's here, I have Omar Aguirre from Tacos Arandas. Bienvenido. The 5th business that I wanted to recognize today was also Miyagi Sushi. So for those who maybe went or not during the COVID pandemic, they were even offering free rolls for those of us who were shopping with them during the shutdowns that we had. They're opening up actually a second location at Diamond Bar right now, so they couldn't come out. But I wanted to highlight these top 5 businesses for our community because they do so much to give back. They donate to nonprofits and do events around their areas. So from the bottom of my heart, for everybody in the second ward in the city who knows you, thank you for all the work you do here. Thank you. You may all come to the podium and share some words to the public. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. What I saw was a common theme. It seems like food ties us all together. We all seem to be in the food industry, and we all know that that's what we do. We serve people and bring us all together. So I'm happy to see that there's other food vendors here that are doing exceptional as well. So thank you. I'm glad to be a part of a big team.
Just want to say thank you to San Bernardino for supporting family businesses. We couldn't have done it for 30 plus years without you guys. Thank you.
Oh, we're gonna take a group picture, you guys.
I'm from Mega Sushi, and my English is not good, so I cannot explain my feeling. Thank you very much, and we try to serve the fresh fish and good food for you guys. Thank you.
Just want to say thank you guys for 32 years of being able to pleasurably make you guys tacos here in the city of San Bernardino. And hopefully another 32.
Our PIO wants to take a picture of all of us.
Thank you and congratulations to all of you, and thank you for your service to our city, your services to our city. Now we have a presentation to be made by Cisco Ramirez for Youth Sport Coordinator. The presentation is of the City of San Bernardino, for the City of San Bernardino Summer 2023 Youth Basketball All-Star participants.
I'm
And
gonna
it looks
take
like
this-
Liddy's going to help out with this as well.
I'm going to take this opportunity to introduce Cisco Ramirez. He's our sports coordinator for youth sports, and this is going to be the first time he's talking in front of council, so let's give him a round of applause.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Cisco Ramirez. I am the youth sports coordinator here for the city of San Bernardino, Parks and Recreation Athletic Department. Tonight, I have the honor to represent our 3 divisions for our summer all-star basketball. Our all-star teams recently played their heart out against our neighboring city, Rialto, all-star basketball team this summer, August 19th. Though the score didn't swing our way, our divisions showed incredible spirit and determination and teamwork. We're excited to announce, this will be an announcement for us, we're excited to announce our registration for our fall basketball season is open now, which we will face off against Rialto again. We'll get a shot at them again. Exciting news, though, we recently received a $10,000 donation from Hillwood Development. This donation will go a long way in subsidizing the cost of jerseys for the remainder of our city. So, thank you all for your support and helping our young athletes thrive in our community. And here's to friendship, teamwork, and looking forward to involving even more cities in the future. Thank you guys very much.
At this time, I'd like to invite all of our young athletes, our all-stars, to come up here, and council, if you'd like to come down and take a picture with them.
Yes.
All good? Of course you get in there, it's your team. Oh, you want, okay, let's go ahead. Go up on the... Give it. How we roll. Families will be giving the certificates right outside in the lobby if you want to go ahead, and we'll take more pictures out there, okay? Go ahead.
Thank you all so much, and congratulations, Cisco and Liddy, on a great program, and to all the parents and family members and all those wonderful kids. Appreciate it.
proud of you. Get out of here. No need for you to stick.
Okay, moving on, we have another presentation that's going to be made by our Director of Parks and Recreation and Community Services, Liddy Gutfeld. This is a recognition of Cal State San Bernardino University baseball and coach Mike Nadeau on his accomplishment in leading this team to its first national collegiate association run and being named Coach of the Year. Liddy?
Yes. All right. So many of you guys who have come to the meetings know that I'm a big fan of Cal State baseball and everything baseball, but I'm so excited to have the team here. A few things are happening. So number one, they had the most amazing season last year, but I want to start off with our partnership. It's truly important that we are true partners and collaborators with the university at Cal State. And so I want to say thank you to Monique, because without her, we would have never been able to complete an application for our NCAA bid to have it hosted here. I want to thank the council, the city manager's office, and all of our Yotes supporters that came out to all the games. But to be able to host it at Fiscalini was something pretty magical. So thank you, Monique, for everything that you do and everything that you're going to continue to do. I truly believe that as we work together, we build an opportunity and a vision for those youth that you just saw up here, because they are future Yotes, so you guys have an important part in their future, right? So lead by example. More than anything, I want to talk about Mike Nadeau. Unfortunately, he was not able to be here. His daughter plays softball at Stanford and blew out her knee 2 days ago. So he flew up to be with her while she had surgery. But we have Coach Renee here, who's going to say a few words right after I finish saying what I want to say. So I'm just going to read a little something. So in his 6th year at the helm, Mike Nadeau led the Yotes to an unprecedented run in 2023, breaking the program win record while taking the team to semifinals in the College World Series in Cary, North Carolina. Entering the 2023 season, the Yotes had not had a winning season since 2012, and they had never made an NCAA run in their 31-year history at the Division II level. All that changed while Nadeau led CSUSB to a program best 46-19 record, culminating with 9 players earning all CCAA honors and 3 being named All-Americans. Nadeau and the Yotes not only made the NCAA tournament, they dominated it. CSUSB went a perfect 5-0 through regionals and super regionals, winning their first D2 West Regional Championship in program history on May 27th at Cal State Monterey Bay. Despite losing their first game of the College World Series, the Yotes went on to win 3 straight elimination games on the national stage, including taking down the #1 team in the nation in Millersville. Congratulations, gentlemen. At this time, I'd like to invite Coach Renee up to say a few words.
Hi, guys. First of all, I'd like to thank, the University of Cal State San Bernardino for all the stuff that they've done for us in our program. I'd like to also thank the City of San Bernardino for hosting the regionals for us. Without you guys, we could not have what we have there. The grounds crew did an outstanding job for us. I'd also like to thank San Bernardino PD, because when we hosted our regionals, they had their shooting competition that day, and the teams that came in were scared of bullets. Our guys are used to that every day, because our San Bernardino PD shoots out there all the time. So we're going to give you a schedule again this year for when we're playing there. So I'd like to also thank Liddy. We do have a couple of things for her, for all the stuff that she's done. She's helped us so much in this past year, for everything, for fixing the lights, for ground crew, to everything. And there's a lot of stuff that goes behind the scenes that nobody knows that we have to do, like airline tickets, hotels, the meals the kids get fed, and all that stuff comes in effect for us to be successful. So all the players you see here, can you guys please stand up? These are all returning players from that World Series team. So we have a chance, we hope we have a chance to get back again to carry North Carolina and hopefully win it this time. Thank you, guys. Monique's going to say a few words. Sorry. Let me get my leg.
There you go. So we couldn't have done this without the city of San Bernardino. What you guys do for us year after year, but with the use of Fiscalini, is, you know, it from the bottom of our hearts. We don't have a baseball stadium, and you guys have stepped up from the beginning and have given us a home, and that's a true community partnership. And I could not have done what we did last year without Liddy. So we would like to present a little few tokens of our appreciation. And Liddy, we'd like to present you with our mini regional baseball trophy. That's so cool. And we also brought you back a World Series shirt from Carrie.
I love it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
At this time, can we bring them up as well for one big picture? All right, guys, head on up. This is so cool. Thank you, guys. That's awesome. This is so cool. I knew you would love it. Oh my God, I'm so excited. I'd like to see you again. I know. That is so cool. It's going right in the front. Coach, are you going to be able to make it up those stairs? I don't want to. Okay. I'll take a photo. There you go. Okay.
Okay, well, we'll continue on. And at this time, we're going to take public comments will be heard. In-person speakers will be heard first, followed by remote speakers. To address the city council, each individual must fill out a speaker slip. A speaker slip must be completed and turned into the city clerk. Only those speaker cards turned in to the city clerk will be allowed to address the city council. No late cards will be accepted. Each person shall state their name for the record, and we want to please note that we will be ceasing public comments as close to 8 o'clock as we can, because we have a public hearing that has to do that. So we will hear them up till 8 o'clock. We will go to the public hearing, and then we will go back and finish the public comments. And if you require Spanish speaking interpretation, we do have an interpreter on site. Please raise your hand at this time if you will need or indicate you need a Spanish speaker or interpreter. I don't see any in the house, but I may have missed somebody. So, makes a good point. Maybe they don't understand because they need an interpreter. And I'm gonna let the interpreter make that message right now. So please go forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, I will proceed with the Spanish interpretation. En este momento se escucharán los comentarios públicos. Primero se escucharán los oradores en persona, seguidos de los oradores remotos. Para dirigirse al Consejo Municipal, cada individuo debe completar una tarjeta de orador. Se debe completar la tarjeta de orador y entregarla a la secretaria municipal en este momento. Solo aquellas tarjetas de orador entregadas a la Secretaría Municipal podrán dirigirse al Consejo Municipal. No se aceptarán tarjetas tardías. Cada persona debe indicar su nombre para el registro. A las 8 de la noche pasaremos a las audiencias públicas y completaremos el resto de los comentarios públicos después de cerrar la última audiencia pública. Si necesita interpretación en español, tenemos un intérprete presente. Por favor, levante la mano en este momento para indicar que requiere servicios. También tenemos aparatos disponibles para escuchar la Junta en español. Si no recibimos solicitud para los servicios de interpretación antes de las 9 de la noche, el intérprete se retirará. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we will go on to public comments. How many speakers do we have tonight?
We have 35.
35. Okay, let's, as your name is called, if you'll come to the dais, we use both daises. And if you will state your name in the order that you're called, would appreciate it.
Patricia Suarez Ramirez, Lisa Hayes, Ricky Van Johnson.
Thank you. Please state your name.
Yes, hi, my name is Patricia Suarez Ramirez. I work for Rolling Star. I am the system change advocate. We are a center for independent living with people with disabilities. We help all disabled for any age. We remodel homes. We help them with applications, for them to become more independent themselves. We also offer food pantry, and we also help with bus passes and anything that they need of assistive technology. Even we have a computer lab for them to come over and use it. We are a nonprofit organization, and I have brought some brochures for you guys, and I am very thankful to be here.
Thank you very much, and the city clerk will get those brochures from me, and we'll make sure that we all get one. Thank you very much. I see Mr. Van Johnson in the wings. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Common Council. Ricky Van Johnson. Well, it looks like we dodged a bullet by not hiring Mr. Kerrigan for city manager. Being fired by two cities as a city manager is without a doubt a red flag. It makes you wonder, how could this man be number one out of almost 70 applicants for this extremely important, critical position in our city government? Plus, it looked like the city was going to increase his salary by almost $100,000 from his previous employer. It also makes you wonder, how could a headhunter firm bring this individual forward as the best and brightest? Watching this far-fetched scenario play out where Mr. Kerrigan was almost chosen as our city manager is about as ludicrous to us as if the governor of California will hire someone who lives in another state to represent California as our United States Senator. Oh, I guess that did happen. Well, let us do what we can from a local level moving forward not to match that level of nonsense. Hopefully this is our last time working with that headhunter firm. Look like Mr. Charles McNeely, you will be with us for a little bit longer as city manager. I will say this, that out of the 8 city managers that were there in my 12 years on city council, you are by far the most knowledgeable, professional, and proficient city manager that I have worked with. Thank you for all you do. Please inform Rosalind to not snatch you back into retirement before we can get the full benefit of your expertise. I'm praying for you. Finally, in successful California cities with over 200,000 in population, there exists the position of assistant city manager in their organizational chart. Mayor and Common Council, please consider providing the necessary tools in our org chart so that we will have the opportunity to function as a strong, thriving, and prosperous city. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you.
Lisa Hayes, Deborah Downton, Dr. Treasure Ortiz, Al Palazzo.
If you've heard your name, would you please step to one of the podiums? Thank you, and just go ahead, whether we're in our exact order, please state your name, though. Push that red button, or that button.
Hello, my name is Deborah Downton. I have an issue here with a contractor and a developer. They were contracted to build a Dollar General in San Bernardino on East Street, and doing so, my property was damaged. My contractor asked, there's 5 of us, that they took down our walls on our property to build the Dollar General's wall. They took down my wall. Also, when they took down my back wall, my adjoining wall, they left standing. It was freestanding, so it cracked and it's fallen. The Dollar General, it was a supporting wall, as I live on the corner. When they dislodged that back wall from my front, the supporting wall cracked and it destroyed my property. This was back a year ago. I have contracted the contractor, Don Hatch, owner of the Hatch Group, by email, also by phone, and Israel. Him and Israel came out in March and said they would take care of my property, the damage that they've done. They looked at the damage and said it would be taken care of. I also contacted David Church, who's a developer that developed that property. I've talked to him back and forth. He said that it would be taken care of. This is, like I said, it's been a year ago. I've also contacted, emailed, and talked to Councilman Damon Alexander. He reached out to both of them about it. He has not been able to contact Don Hatch anymore. He has been absent on me. I'm hoping that you guys can help me with this problem I have. My property has been destroyed, well, damaged. I have emailed and also talked to Cheryl Weeks, Valerie, Kenesha Boyd, and also emailed Dr. Treasure Ortiz. Dr. Ortiz says she'll look into it as well as the others. They've been very patient with this matter. And it's my understanding, in order to do construction in the city, you have to be a licensed contractor and carry general liability as well as collateral damage insurance for damage that may occur, such as this has been a year since this damage was done to my property, and nothing's been done about it. I'm hoping that you can help me with this matter and get it resolved. As of I know, there's still developers in this city, David Church and Don Hatch. And as I said, Damon Alexander has been very helpful with this and been trying to contact them both. But I'm asking if maybe I can get some help from the councilman and the mayor to help me get my property taken care of that they have damaged and left. I brought pictures, but they said I had to bring enough for everybody, but I only brought one copy. So if you still want to see the pictures that I have, I also have taken emails of my property that they've left damaged to build this wall for Dollar General. And that's all I have to say. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. City Manager, please. You're going to have someone contact her. We have someone that's going to contact you and get some additional information. So if you'll share it with this fellow right here, we'll see what we can do to help you. All right. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor and Council, tonight you guys will finally be discussing crushing and grinding in our city. This has been a huge issue since an illegal pile was dumped at the top of Palm and Kendall with zero clearance from the city, with fraudulent permits issued by your city. It is time to clean up. Did you know that never in the history of the city of San Bernardino has anybody ever been allowed to crush or grind cement? You should, because the municipal code doesn't allow for it. So then why would you allow an RFP for the mall to go through with the potential to crush and grind cement? Why would you fine a demolition team on Industrial Parkway for crushing and grinding if the 1,000-foot restriction from residential areas was allowed? I want you guys to ask the questions to your legal counsel, because breaking the law is not a good thing. Violating your own municipal code hurts the community. Do you know that there is zero benefit to our community, financially and health-wise? That the previous director of Public Works said that crushing and grinding would cause a significant risk to the life, health, and safety of those in the immediate vicinity and all those in the surrounding areas. So why would you consider it? 5 months, our Planning Commission worked tirelessly to try and come up with an ordinance that they believed would keep the public safe and allow for a provision of crushing and grinding. And you know what? After 5 months of doing their homework, they found that there is no way to keep our community safe. There is no way to make sure that our city has enough staff to oversee the necessary HVAC and coverage requirements. This is a moot issue, but it has been allowed to carry on because of the pay-to-play corruption that has infested our city for years, where we allow developers and demolition teams alike to do what they want because they give money every quarter. I'm asking you guys to finally put this to rest. Nathan Freeman and the city attorney from BB&K told us there is nothing in the municipal code that allows for crushing and grinding. It doesn't matter if it's within 1,000 feet of the public, right across the street, or 100 miles. Please, just enforce the rules as is, because that survey, that analysis that you guys paid for, if you've actually read it, there is nothing inside of you that would ever want to allow that type of exposure to our community. They've said it. If you pop off the lid of the Carousel Mall, you might as well have mesothelioma commercials running from this city for the next 25 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Palazzo.
My comments were for the mayor that is absent, but I know she's watching. After you mentioned Mount Vernon, Mayor, I decided to emphasize the ideas I have on rebuilding Mount Vernon. I will show you how we can bring economic development. I would like you to be the first to hear my ideas on rebuilding the west side. You will be amazed. As you are looking at different types of developments on my tour, I will explain how we can bring these concepts to San Bernardino. I will explain solutions to any doubts that you may have. I refer to these ideas transforming Mount Vernon as our Champs-Élysées. Please give me a chance to show you my ideas before I invite other people who are waiting to take my tour. Prominent citizens and young people that want to make a movie and document what I'm saying. I have a few seconds, so I will set aside my prepared. I have two cities. I grew up in San Bernardino. I was assigned to the western portion of the county 50 years ago. I bought a home in Terra Vista, and I raised my children in Rancho Cucamonga. I still have a P.O. box there. I go visit my children and I collect my mail. I'm amazed at what I continue to see being done. On 4th Street, between 4th and 6th, midway between Haven and Milliken, Lewis Holmes bought the golf course, and he's building thousands of home units. It would be a SWAT from 5th Street, maybe to 9th, maybe Baseline, from Gardner to Davison to L to K to Paris. He calls it a resort. You have to see this. I'm sure these homes are expensive. I have a concept, which is the foundation of my vision, how to build affordable housing in this city. You may think I'm crazy when I say that we can make Mount Vernon our Champs-Élysées, but I've been to Paris many times, and when I drive Mount Vernon, I'm reminded of what I see close by in Rancho Cucamonga, and I think of our blocks, and I say, oh, we can do this, we can do this. I'm up at night thinking these ideas. You need to hear and see these ideas. Thank you.
Thank you.
Pastor Ray Turner.
Pastor Turner? Yeah, you can do a couple.
And Luis Ojeda.
And Luis, Mr. Ojeda.
Mayor Pro Tem, City Council, I just stand again to encourage you to implement the plan that our community have viewed, that Mr. McNeely put forth, in light of the fact that we don't know when we will have a city manager. We're asking that you would consider keeping Mr. McNeely on as long as he desires, or as long as it takes to get that plan implemented. The community have seen it, we support it. We're asking you to finance it and to get it moving forward. We know it's going to take time to turn San Bernardino around, but I think we have a good foundation to start on if we just all come together on one accord to make San Bernardino the city that we know it can be. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mr. Ojeda.
Hello, everyone. Well, I don't really care that we didn't hire the city manager for whatever reason. According to some people, they have all the facts. But it's only one fact here. We have some dishonest council members that have been leaking information and have sabotaged the whole system here. And that's a problem for me. Because we lost, I don't know, maybe $80,000, $100,000 because of some of these people doing what they did because they didn't like this particular person or the other person, right? Well, it seems like nowadays in this city, everything is becoming racial, you know? So everybody's advocating for their own people, right? So one time, Councilmember Calvin called me, "Where you from? You're trying to create a race war. Your people. Well, Councilwoman Calvin, my people is 80% of your war that I don't think you represent, right? Because on your meetings, you don't even have somebody speaking Spanish or translating your meetings. That's one thing. So for me, I feel that with 70% of the total population in San Bernardino, we deserve to have a city manager that is Hispanic, that represent our people. Most of the times I think about merit, but it seems that some people in this city don't care about merit. It's all about their bias for their own people. So we need to get away from that, but at the same time, if you guys are going to keep sabotaging this process, I don't think we're going to move forward. So there's something that we need to think about it. So coming back to the crushing on site, it's been, what, 5 years of this mess, and we're still talking about this? I mean, I work in construction, and we have grinding on site forever. If you guys seen the street when they get repaved, they grind there. We have some cement plants around the city. Guess what they do? They crush on site. Have you seen when they repair the freeways? They crush on site. And nothing happened. It's all scaring taxes to the residents of that area. And please, stop the games and let's move this city forward. Thank you.
Thank you. We have time for one more.
Amy Malone.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and council members. My name is Amy Malone, as was stated, and I am a resident of Ward 4. I originally came this evening to discuss the growing homeless problem in that area and find out what we are doing to try to address the situation and what we are doing to help that population. However, I arrived early today and had an opportunity to drive around the city of San Bernardino downtown. I am a rather new resident. I've been here now for 2 years and I'm a business owner, and I've been looking for an area, space to lease. And it disturbed me to see the city this evening. It looks like a shell of a city that once was thriving. It was really sad to me to know that we have a city such as San Bernardino with a population as large as it is, and people who want to live here and do business in the city in which they live, but there's really not an area where I would feel comfortable inviting my clients to come to. So I want to know what we are doing about the revitalization of downtown San Bernardino. I want to know what have we moved forward with any of the plans that have been made and what I can do as a business owner and as a resident to help with move those plans forward. It's disturbing. This city is too beautiful. The city is, I mean, I can look at it and see what it was. So everyone up there should be disturbed by what you see out there now. There's no place to eat. There was no place for me to even go and just wait until we were ready to start the city council meeting. So I ask that if you can tell me what I can do as a business owner, what I can do as a resident to help move it forward, to help with the progress, because I came here a year ago and we were discussing the downtown revitalization project, and I've seen nothing happen. I would like to know as a citizen if somebody there can tell me what we're doing and what we can all do to help move this forward and not just talk about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are now going to suspend the public comments and go to our public hearing. This is to approval of a draft fiscal year 2022 and 2023 Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report, CAPER, to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. This affects all wards. I'm now opening the public comment at, looks like it's exactly 8 o'clock. And can we have the city staff please make the presentation? Thank you, Mr. City Manager.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor Pro Tem and distinguished members of the City Council. For your consideration this evening is the annual consolidated annual performance evaluation report. We refer to it as the CAPER. It's a report that we conduct every year to inform the Department of Housing and Urban Development of our accomplishments in our city. So we're bringing this forward. We need to submit this very soon to HUD, as we refer to the Department of Housing and Urban Development. The information included in our annual report is based on our annual action plan, which is done every year. And then as part of our 5-year consolidated plan, we're currently in our 3rd year of that action plan. And just to highlight some of our accomplishments for fair housing, in our public service category, we expended $73,000, which assisted about 3,000 people for fair housing services over the year. We improved some facilities and infrastructure. And with our ESG funds, we were able to provide some emergency funding for our unhoused population. As far as the expenditures, we provide our public service entities some money. One of our big expenditures is our Section 108 loan repayment. So that is included in the report as well. I know recently the council considered the action plan for 23-24. So I won't go into too much detail because I know you've had a few meetings on these topics. But this is to conduct the public hearing prior to us submitting the document to HUD. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you for that. Do we have any public comments to be made on this hearing?
Yes, we may have two. So far, we have Jim Penman.
Okay. Mr. Penman? Is this on this item?
Yes, for item number 24.
Is this
No, I did not. I submitted it for regular public comment.
just a regular public comment?
not
So
this
not on
one.
the public hearing?
Correct.
Okay.
So we have none.
So we have no speakers on this. So I am now closing the public hearing at about 8:04, 8:03 for deliberation and action. Do we have a motion?
Move to approve.
Do we have any discussion or do we have a second to that motion? Second by Mr. Reynoso. Thank you. Do we have any discussion or comments from the council on this item? Hearing and seeing none. There's a motion on the floor. It was motioned by Councilmember Sanchez and seconded by Councilmember Reynoso. Madam Clerk, will you please call for the vote?
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Yes.
Councilmember Figueroa?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Calvin?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much, and we can now go back and continue with public comments. So would you call off a few names? How many do we still have? A few?
We've only got through 10 so far.
We've only been through 10, and you had about 35. Okay,
Yes.
so we've got some more, so please call them off.
Okay. Barbara Sky, John Schollenberger, Dr. Gwen Dowdy Rogers, Ali Shahabi.
Thank you again. As you hear your name, if you'd please come up to one of the podiums on the left or the right, and when you speak, please remember to state your name, please.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to come down here this evening and speak. On my way down here this afternoon, I was thinking, you know, you guys are like a baseball team. You can have the highest paid players in the whole world and lose every friggin' game. That's because you guys don't know how to play as a team. You've got your own personal agendas, and so you're not going to go with somebody else and vote to help them out because you only care about yourself. And that's wrong. You took an oath to represent and to protect the residents of this city. And that's what I'm down here asking you to do. You paid for this analysis of the crushing. Did you guys read it? If you read it, there's no reason for this hearing because the health and safety of the residents are at risk. And I suggest that you all sit down and read it, especially when you can't sleep at night. Okay, the city's never going to prosper until you guys learn to work as a team. And I know sometimes that's hard, but you guys need to get your stuff together and do it. Because you can tell it's an election year. We're here to discuss crushing on site, but we're not supposed to talk about Oxbow because it's not about Oxbow, but the second page is all about Oxbow. That's why we're here. But Oxbow's for another hearing because it'd probably take up a whole meeting. Okay, I was noticing in here that it's no longer just about crushing. It's no longer just about grading. Now we've got blasting. We're going to blast because the whole north end of San Bernardino, thank you, John, the whole north end of San Bernardino has bedrock, small, large, and bigger. We can't afford to blast up there. You've got 5 major earthquake faults. And you don't screw with Mother Nature because she comes back in 10-folds to get you. The report on crushing and grinding is, I can't remember everything that's in that, but I'll tell you, it'll keep you up at night if you read it. The children of the city of San Bernardino are in danger. The kids that live across the street from Oxbow have respiratory problems. They've never had it before, and all of a sudden it does. The elderly are at risk of it. This shouldn't be under a grading permit, and I'm not sure if it really should be under a TUP. It should have its own separate entity of a process to approve it, because we're just not talking about a little project. You've got over 200,000 tons of concrete up there on the end of Palm, and I'm sorry that my time's up, but please.
Thank you.
Don't approve crushing.
I think actually, John, I think you're next, so go ahead.
Switching gears, John Schollenberger, Arrowview neighborhood. I'm going to steal your phrase, Fred. It's time to run a tight ship, okay? In 2016, the citizens of San Bernardino voted for a new charter, that of a council-manager form of government. We transitioned from a mayor-council to a council-manager form of government with a mayor in a position. But those duties have been significantly reduced in this person's role. They have a veto power, but they don't have the same power that they used to have. It's time for us to start talking about eliminating that position on the dais and absorbing it among the council members as other cities have that have this charter do. We cannot be beholden or vulnerable to another person coming into this city with money in their pocket to buy voting blocks to get their personal agendas through, while the infrastructure in this city has been crumbling as a result. Wherever their interests were and their developer buddies and whatever it was, they got what they wanted out of it. But the citizens of San Bernardino suffered. And the streets are still a mess. And everything else is still going on around here. Okay, it's time for us to really consider that we need to put this on the ballot. This conversation has started. I'm not letting go of it. And I know that the people, oh, we got to have a strong mayor because we're bigger than the other cities around. That argument doesn't fly with me. We can make this work. Only people that say that are the same people that have a financially vested interest in this position continuing. We can't even, there's even arguments about Helen not having a staff and all this and that. We're done. You guys could make this work. We got a pro tem up there on the dais now as it is. So we voted for this charter. We need to be in alignment with it, and other cities do it. Redland, Santa Monica, Highland, they do it. Let's talk to them about how they're doing it. It's successful for them, and their cities are improving and growing. So I'm asking the citizens of San Bernardino to contact your council person if you agree with me, and tell them it's time for it to go on the ballot in the next elections. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and to the council. I first want to say thank you for this opportunity, but I definitely want to applaud the organizations and the businesses that continue to remain in San Bernardino. It's very important. And as I stand here today, I am representing on behalf of an organization myself. Many of you know me. I am a lifetime resident of San Bernardino, a diehard lifetime resident of San Bernardino, and now a Fifth Ward resident. So I do have some good news that I want to share with you. As many of you may know or may not know, the late Doug Rowan, he led Arrowhead United Way over 20+ years. Upon his retirement as the board chair, I was asked to lead this fabulous organization that many other things other than just serving day to day gives out thousands of pounds of food, thousands of dollars of medical supplies, receiving funding from long-term donors, and now also giving grants, and since COVID gave out over $500,000 to our community, funding them for their financial needs, including 30 organizations that were in need of services and supplies and funding in order to remain during COVID. But you may ask, what does Arrowhead United Way do? It's simple. We do whatever it takes to live united in purpose with the community, helping to fight the health, education, and financial stability of every person in the community, all in a modest building down the street at 646 North D Street. But today I am excited to announce that Arrowhead United Way, who has served this community over 130 years, on October the 14th, 2023, will have the inaugural Arrowhead United Way Hunger Relief Benefit Concert at San Bernardino Valley College, the magical music of Motown. The doors will open at 6:30 and the tickets are $50. And sponsorships are still available, and we need your help. We need your help for this reason. My other good news is this. It is not often that I have to reach out to the city for things because I do take the responsibility of trying to make things happen. I know there's a lot going on, both negative and positive. But when I do reach out, I would like to see a reciprocal relationship. And so I do watch the city council meetings. Of course, you all know that there are many other hats that I wear, but that's not important tonight. I do watch because what's happening in my city is always important. I had an unfortunate situation this past Friday at our organization where we had to shut down due to our water and some unfortunate things that was taking place. That is a problem within our city, and we all know what it is. But I needed to reach out to the city of San Bernardino because we did not know what to do. I had to send staff home and halt the business that you just heard me explain to you, giving out food, giving out funding, and doing what needs to be done as a community member. And I want to thank Charles McNeely, and I want to thank also Teddy, who came by today to check on us, and thank you, Councilwoman Calvin and Damon Alexander, for always coming and check on Arrowhead United Way.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And thank you for your service.
Good evening,
Please,
Mayor Pro Tem Charette.
Please announce your name, please.
My name is Ali Sahabi. Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem Charette and honorable council members. I am a general engineering contractor and a real estate developer active here in Inland Empire since 1988. And the reason I'm here tonight, I wanted to compliment you all for considering the adoption of the strategic initiative, item number 8 tonight. I attended your special hearing last month considering this initiative. What I noticed really was council's consideration of this initiative reflected to me a thoughtful leadership and proactive approach to building a better San Bernardino. It's not always easy to come together and find that vision for the community. But I believe what you did the other night was the big start, and it's going to really, we're going to see the result of it down the line. This type of responsiveness to the community, which was obvious in your communications among each other and with the community, is really the heartbeat of good government and good governance. So I compliment you again for what you're doing, and I wish you continued success and progress in City of San Bernardino. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Daniel Givanji, Christian Shaughnessy, Keith Benitez, Ali Espinosa, Micaiah McKenzie.
Hello, council and the community and people on the Zoom. I came here today to express a few notes on some topics that were on my mind, so here you go. First issue of today is I noticed that there's a lot of mosquitoes in town. I'm getting stung up all over the place. And then recently I heard on the news that there's some weird mosquito species that has like taken over. So can we contact the county public health department, vector control? I know we pay taxes for that. Maybe we could look into this, do some spraying, and save ourselves some mosquito bites. The next item I had that I wanted to bring up was, item number 9. I know we're going to be talking about landlords and introducing some rules and safety measures. Councilmember Alexander Ibarra, I know you've heard my complaining and rambling and ranting on some of the issues that I'm facing on my street. But this isn't just about me. It's when we have really problematic landlords. In my case, this landlord actually has a criminal history. He was a criminal defense attorney that turned into a criminal. And for some reason, he attracts his client base to rent out the house. So can we look into doing something where we introduce metrics when there's a really problematic landlord, whether they own 1 unit, 10, 20, that maybe there's some metrics that the police department can look into and, appropriately do something with the landlord to make sure that the problems are resolved. It's not a, absentee situation and things of that nature. The next item I wanted to talk about was the crushing issue. This is Happy Clean Air Day. Today, October 4th, is Clean Air Day. So I think we had to look at, just the air situation all throughout all of the wards. I know in some areas it's really, really bad. So we need to look into when we're doing crushing and grinding, when industrial developments are coming in, how is it really impacting the community and what could we look to do better? We have a toxic recycling facility right at the airport. That stuff that they brought over to Oxbow, why couldn't it have been sent there? Could they have set up a barn type structure where they put the crushers inside the barn, and that way the dust is not going into the air but is staying in a contained facility and it's being monitored properly? Another thing I want to talk about is our city manager and the hiring process. I think Mr. McNeely is doing a good job. Crime seems to be going down and thankfully with successful efforts with the SBPD. I live in Del Rosa, and last year you'd hear gunshots all the time. I don't hear them as much anymore. I think I've only heard it once or twice this year. So whatever is being done is successful. Mr. McNeely, thank you for doing a good job. If he wants to unretire and get back into the mix, maybe he could do that. But if he really is intent on retiring, maybe we can find someone else that's better.
Thank you very much. Please state your name.
All right, good evening, brothers, sisters, ladies and gentlemen, honorable members of the council. My name is Christian T. Shaughnessy. I'm the staff liaison for the San Bernardino County Youth Advisory Board on Homelessness. I'm also the chair of the Youth Coordinated Entry System on Homelessness and various other titles that aren't very meaningful today. I actually originally came on down here to speak about item number 8, but I actually wanted to start off saying something I think I never would have had to say, let alone in public. I don't think Councilwoman Kim Calvert is a racist. I don't think she's trying to start a race war. If she is trying to start a race war, that is one of the most inefficient race warriors I've ever seen in my life. I think she's out here fighting for people, and I think that's okay. Because I'm a Democrat, there are some Republicans on the board, there are some people who are secret Republicans that one can run against, and I think that's great, but you shouldn't call people racist, you shouldn't call people various vicious epithets when there's absolutely nothing to that. So, you know what, Mama Kim, keep up the good work. Now, on that point, I encourage everybody here to vote yes in favor of item number 8. By all accounts, it appears to be a rather straightforward measure. It would provide an additional $2 million to our homeless folks who are engaged in a state of affairs that aren't ideal for the people of San Bernardino and that aren't very ideal for their own lives. And as anybody who works with our unhoused youth and our unhoused citizens can tell you, if you prevent homelessness, if you handle it early, you can actually change the lives of individuals in such a way that not only transforms them and their families, but also saves the city a great deal of money. Now, I want to close out on also discussing something that has come to mind and also has been a great issue for the city, which is the issue of crushing and grinding. My father is a Vietnam veteran. He's a combat veteran. He has been diagnosed with PTSD from the VA. He's had to endure a lot of things in this life. He is missing a chunk of his leg. And as he gets older and more eccentric, when he talks about his military service, he'll be very proud of the fact that he lost a piece of himself for this country and for the things that he believes in, even if the country hasn't been very kind to him. My father lives a couple blocks away from the Oxbow site. And when we think about the health risks that take place from living around that Oxbow site, I feel very comfortable saying that my father has given enough for this country and that he shouldn't have to risk any other bit of his health towards his country. His country should be doing a lot more for him in his old age. So I know that we have some strong fiscal conservatives on this side of the council. I appreciate that. If your concern is about taxpayers' dollars being spent somehow on removing this debris, think about the lawsuits that may very well happen as a result of poor public health outcomes from allowing crushing and grinding there and allowing other debris in the city. So think about it morally and think about it fiscally. Thank you very much.
Good evening. I am Keith Benitez here with the County's Youth Advisory Board on behalf of approving item number 8 on approving the budget on homeless services in San Bernardino. As I've mentioned multiple times at many council meetings before, I was homeless a majority of my early life, and once again, the fact this is once again a debate is unfortunately a very unsurprising circumstance. I've had a rough day and I honestly didn't want to come today. But when I was informed once again about another action item that is vital for the support of our city's most at-risk population, I took my one day off a week to come here and tell the city council meeting, the council members, to please approve this budget. This homeless funding shouldn't even be up for a debate. Please do the right thing for our families and stop the path of homelessness. Break this awful cycle and destructive one. This shouldn't have never been up for debate. Thank you.
Good evening. Hi, my name is Ollie Espinoza. I'm here for you guys as a city council to approve item number 8. There are so many unhoused people in San Bernardino that are in need of housing and need shelter for the upcoming winter. We don't need any more deaths in the city. We need to get together as a community and help in those in need. We have the budget to help unhoused people and youths. Please vote yes on item number 8. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Micaiah McKenzie, and I'm here to approve on item number 8. To hear that this is going on debate, it's honestly stupid. If I had a nickel for every time you guys were being assholes, I could have fixed it myself. And not only that, but also all these potholes y'all have been leaving in your damn city. So that's saying a lot. Maybe if y'all stop bickering at each other like little dogs and actually get together, you can fucking fix shit.
Hey, please, I ask for decorum, and we're not going to tolerate that kind of language here at the dais, so please refrain.
I will try my best. Sorry if it's a bit of offensive, but I'm very passionate of what I speak about, especially when it comes to affecting your community that we are all a part of. Sorry if it offended you, but I honestly do not care. Maybe if you guys would have been fixing the problems in the beginning, I wouldn't have to do this, but hey, it is what it is. Just help your city more than it needs to be. More than you do, actually, if you even do it at all. Thank you.
Ulysses Benitez, Dolores Armstead, Maria Hurtado, Junior Carrillo.
I'm not sure which one of you was first, but whoever speaks first, please identify yourself.
Hello, my name is Ulises Benitez, and I think we should accept item number 8 because if there are fewer homeless people on the streets of San Bernardino, there will be less setting fires to vacant buildings. Too many buildings catch fire due to squatting, and the fires cause danger to our city. If we stop homelessness early, we won't have to spend more money on stopping the fires, which is why I say please vote yes on item 8.
Hello, Dolores Armstead. First, I'd like to say I support item number 8. One, because it's starting to address our issues with homelessness. And then also, we're creating an economic development department, which for some reason I thought we had one. We need an agency, a person or agency that can dedicate and focus on economic development for the city. That is really something that we need, someone that can focus and help. Mr. McNeely, thank you, but you need help. We need someone that can help focus and move the city forward and approach those businesses that we need to attract. My second item is grinding and crushing. Why is this repeal even here? Your planning commission said, no, it's not healthy, it does nothing good for the city. And the city doesn't even have personnel to try and implement any rules and regulations. So why is it here when we don't even have personnel to help keep anything in place? Planning Commission already said no. And also, Oxbow continues. How many years does it take? When is the council going to approve removal of Oxbow? We're going into another year of Santa Ana's, another year of rains, another year of contamination, and another year of bickering and nothing gets done. Your lawsuit with the contractor is going to take years. So in the meantime, these people get sick and they're dying. It is time for the council to do something regarding Oxbow. Those people are still dying. And we're just sitting here hoping that a lawsuit will take care of it. They can wait 40, 50 years. In the meantime, how many people have to die and get sick? We need to deal with it. And we don't need to repeal this. The Planning Commission already said it's nothing healthy. The city already admitted they don't have the staff. So what are you doing? It doesn't make sense. Thank you.
Thank you.
Junior Carrillo, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. I'm here in favor of item number 8. I've heard a lot of people speak about homeless. It's not all about homeless. There's a lot more money than the $2 million for homeless. And I'm in favor for the simple reason that if we have the money, we didn't have the money before. Now we have money and we can move forward. And you know, you may not agree with 100% of it, but you know, the money sitting in the bank's doing us no good. If we can move forward on this and 80% is good, that means 80% of the city is going to be better. you know, and we've got to get together and make this happen. So I'm in favor of item number 8. The other item I'm going to speak on is crushing. I've heard a lot of speaking on crushing tonight. Do you know I read the agenda? You know how long it took me to read those pages? It took me an hour and a half. And you know who I sat with? I sat with my brother that's got 40 years of geotechnical experience. And the things I'm hearing tonight are not true. They're not. Because if you read that, if you honestly read that, it took me an hour and a half to read every single page. And some of the statements that were made tonight are not true. They're not. And if you read it and you disagree with me, that's fine. You know, we can disagree. But I sat and I read it with my brother that's got 40 years. And I've been to Oxbow, and a lot of statements that are made are not true. They are absolutely not true. So read it. Make your own judgment, but at least read it before you can say disagree with it. I mean, I came here not knowing, and I said my brother's he honestly has 40 years experience with geotech. We took a ride up there twice and looked at it. And all the statements said about health and killing people, not true. Excuse me, but not true. Go read the article. If somebody can say they sat there and read it, and it took an hour and a half, and you have the geotechnical that my brother has, then you can disagree with me. But you know what? We need to get it resolved. I'm not going to disagree with that. But we need to look at the facts and resolve it properly and do it, you know. And it doesn't have to be the money issue. It has to be everything. It has to be what's good for the city and also a comparison. But I mean, health comes first. I agree 100%. But if you read that report, the health was not an issue. And that's what I kept looking. I kept looking to see, was health really an issue? And if health's really an issue, you throw everything out. Health was not the issue. I thought that was going to tell me about whether it was contaminated or not. That was a report that was first. The report they just made was on the air quality and what's going to happen. Do you think 5,500 trucks of taking that stuff away is not going to create a health issue? Come on now, let's be honest. So let's look at a solution to resolve it where it's best for the city. Thank you.
Thank you.
Marie Hurtado, Sharon Negrete, Lydia Savala, Diane Watson, Georgia L.
If you heard your name, would you please approach one of the dioceses on the left or the right? Go ahead. Yes, thank you. Please state your name and push that button again. There you go.
My name is Lydia Savala. I'm here this evening to plant seeds, share concerns, and offer alternatives to the reduction of our pet overpopulation problem. As a prelude, I've seen the problem get worse, much worse. As recently as the last few months, I've become aware of 2 neighbors who've had puppies and dogs thrown over their fence with leashes attached. I had all 3 vetted and rehomed outside of San Bernardino. And as recently as 2 weeks ago on a Sunday afternoon, a young man in a black pickup truck pulled up in front of my house on Mountain View near Marshall and removed a boxer, intact, 40 pounds, and placed him over my fence. I ran out just in time to get his license number, and I am working on the identification of the individual who dumped their dog. I concur with the ASPCA with regard to the solution to pet population reduction. There is no better solution than a spay-neuter program, and that's the reason I'm here tonight, and no other reason. In a city with a high level of poverty, I consider low-cost spay-neuter to be $100 or less. We do not have that in this city, which brings me to my concerns and a viable solution. Next door, in the city of Banning, there is a low-cost mobile mobile unit that sets up behind senior citizen and community centers. They've become a common fixture and a model program offered by the Animal Assistance League, a nonprofit from Joshua Tree. It operates efficiently, and effectively, and no question is a step in the right direction. I hear often, we can't get a veterinarian. The Department of Labor offers an HB1 visa to veterinarians and highly skilled professionals. We're not alone in our inability to get a veterinarian. The County of Orange cannot get a veterinarian. They've offered an additional $50,000 bonus to anyone who applies to become a veterinarian, and they still can't get one. The other concern I have is non-enforcement of our spay-neuter ordinance for dogs 4 months and older. And my last concern is free day at the shelter. This is not an uncommon practice to spare animals from euthanasia. The Orange County Shelter for the last 9 months has offered large breed dogs free, but the distinction is that when they give those dogs away free, they're not released intact. They're already spayed, neutered, vaccinated, and microchipped. So the wheel does not have to be reinvented. Let's copy what is working and dismiss what is not working and counterproductive to a serious problem. We need a plan.
Good evening, Council. My name is Diane Watern, and I represent SCAR, Southern California Animal Relief. We rescue animals for all of Southern California, but the majority of animals that we rescue is right here in San Bernardino City. There has got to be some kind of education out to the public. There has to be spay and neuter. It has to be mandatory. We've got backyard breeders dumping puppies. I can show you picture after picture after picture. We've had Frank Padilla call us, can you pick these puppies up, or they're going to the shelter and they'll put them down. And today I visited the shelter. I cannot believe that the city approved another $100,000 position. This management is top-heavy. They currently have 8 workers, 300 dogs, and that's 8 workers for 7 days a week to take care of 300 dogs. I saw algae in the buckets of water. The first 2 rows were clean. The rest of them had all kinds of dog poop in it. The last commission meeting, we discussed about ID cards. You think that would have been fixed? No. I saw cards there that dogs weren't there. I saw dogs there where there weren't any cards. I saw 4 or 5 big dogs in one kennel. I counted 7 little dogs in one kennel. I didn't see any dogs being walked. I encourage the whole council to visit that. You don't need $300 or $100,000 salaries to run that little poop show. You guys need to go there and you need to visit. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, and citizens of the community. I would like to address the approval for the creation of a new position for Deputy Director of Animal Services Department with a salary exceeding $100,000, which was included in the adoption of a strategic initiatives found on page 64 under 6A in the agenda packet. It is crucial to consider whether this position was discussed with the Animal Control Commission as public education initiatives and program advancements align with the resolution in creating an Animal Control Commission and the Commission's purpose. I am also concerned about the lack of public notice, agendas, minutes for previous Commission meetings further hindering transparency and a violation of the Brown Act. The commission meeting has shown that the commissioners' roles seem limited to receiving staff reports from the director without any agenda action items. Considering the pressing issue of overcrowding in shelters and the need for more animal control officers and kennel attendants, it is important to reevaluate the necessity of this new expensive position. Animals suspected of neglect, insufficient care, flaws in registration, and the lack of feeding logs while observing animals that are clearly emaciated, even after spending time at the shelter, among many other failures at line levels, raised concerns about staffing and resource allocation, especially with calls for donations of food for the animals. Exploring alternative solutions that support the Commission's work would be more cost-effective and less waste of hard-earned taxpayer dollars. It is disheartening to continue hearing scripted responses without tangible actions to address the continuing crisis. Emphasizing spay and neuter enforcement, which is not supported by the director, could be a crucial step in reducing the number of unwanted animals. License checkers already on our payroll hired to canvass the city to identify unlicensed animals could also help tackle this issue. Continuously repeating ineffective approaches without change is not a solution. We must strive for better outcomes and explore alternative strategies. The shelter is also in desperate need of temporary kennels to alleviate the vicious animal attacks of kennel mates causing life-threatening injuries and likely needing expensive veterinary care. This is due to overcrowding and should be another option to consider if animal services would just ask. Finally, our community has lost faith in animal services. We need to work on programs to restore the citizens' confidence in this agency and start using our commission to bridge that divide, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ma'am, could you state your name for the record, please?
Can you state your name for the record, please?
Georgia L.
Thank you.
Hello, City Council and Mayor. My name is Sharon Negretti. I've been living here for 29 years now. I'm here today to address the critical issue of overcrowding and limited resources in our city's animal shelters. This is a matter that demands our immediate attention and compassionate action. While euthanizing animals due to these circumstances is undoubtedly a difficult decision, I would like to propose an alternative approach that considers the valuable insights provided by the ASPCA. The ASPCA acknowledges that mandatory spay and neuter laws, while well-intentioned, may not be the most effective solution in low-income communities. They argue that these laws may not be appropriate or feasible in certain situations, and other strategies should be considered. However, it is important to note that the ASPCA still strongly supports spay and neuter as an effective means to reduce shelter intake based on currently available scientific information. With this in mind, I believe it is critical for us to take a holistic approach to addressing the issue of animal overcrowding. While mandatory spay and neuter laws may not be universally applicable, they have proven effective in numerous communities in reducing the number of homeless animals and minimizing euthanasia rates. For example, many communities that have implemented mandatory spay and neuter laws have reported a significant decline in shelter intake ranging from 30% to 60%. However, I also recognize the importance of considering alternative strategies that align with the unique needs and circumstances of our community. Instead of solely focusing on enforcing mandatory spay and neuter laws, we should allocate resources towards education and low-cost spay and neutering programs. By promoting responsible pet ownership and providing accessible options for spaying and neutering, we can create a more caring community and reduce the number of animals entering the shelters. I'm going to run out of time here, but I urge you to please allocate some funds for some spay and neutering and some education for the public. It's very important right now. And we've also got to consider the impact of this on the employees there, which is hard. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mike Cross, David Friedman, Roberto Lopez, Les, Ricardo Casillas.
I think we can go with whoever's first in line, and just identify yourself, please.
Hi, everyone. My name is David Friedman. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I'm just asking you guys to approve number 8. It's the best economic development agenda item I've ever seen since investing here in San Bernardino. Thank you to everyone who was trying to pass the P-bid at the special meeting. I'd like to see that pass as well. Yeah, thank you.
I think we need an interpreter here.
Buenas noches, concejales. Buenas noches, presentes aquí.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Mi nombre es Roberto López. Soy vendedor ambulante. Mi compañía es Ortiz Ice Cream.
My name is Roberto Lopez, and I am the owner of my company, Ortiz Ice Cream.
El día de ayer, el co-reforme estaba yo en el parqueadero que está aquí en el City Hall, el solo.
Yesterday, when I was in the parking lot, the court enforcement came to me.
Y llegaron a revisarme mis licencias, que aquí las tengo.
And they request for my work permit that I have them with me.
Todo iba bien hasta cuando ellos revisaron mis licencias y empezaron a tomarle foto a mis placas de mi troca.
Everything was all right until actually they request for my work permit and they started clicking pictures of my license plates from the front and the back of my car.
Sin mi permiso, y dijeron ellos que era una vía pública y lo podían hacer. Cuando me vieron que yo les empecé a tomar fotos, se enojaron.
And actually, they didn't request for my authorization to click pictures of my car, and they said that they can do whatever is needed because it was a public place, and I start clicking pictures of them.
Con esta son la tercera vez que lo hacen sin mi permiso.
This is the third time that they do that without my authorization.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening. I'm Michael Cross. I am a local animal rescue. I don't live in the city, but 90% of all my animals that I rescue are coming from this city, and it's out of control. You guys got to do something. I'm tired of it. Everything I do comes out of my pocket. I do this all day long. I've had 5 calls today. I had 4 yesterday. I had 10 the other day, all because of people being irresponsible. They don't want to talk to anybody at the shelter. They say that they can't get anybody to come out and pick up the dog, and they call me. So I'm a little fed up with all this. I really am, because nobody trusts the animal control. They don't trust the shelter at all. Everybody's calling me to rescue. And I just want you guys to understand, I don't know if I'm making any sense to you guys, if you're going to do anything about it either. But somebody's got to do something. It's out of control. Thank you.
Thank you.
Les is my name. For the guy in the back that said that about Councilwoman Calvin, you should volunteer to translate for her. And then on top of that, why are we allowing people to dump trash in our communities? Someone must be getting paid behind closed doors for allowing that. If we are hiring security, sooner or later, can we remove the walls on E Street, going over there by Hilltop? It used to be the old Castaways, now it's the Hilltop Restaurant. Can we remove those brick walls? If we're going to hire security, have them roam those areas then, since we're going to hire security. I called traffic and engineer about the bridge on Mount Vernon. They said that they need more money for the bridge, but they're still developing the idea for the bridge. So that kind of doesn't make any sense. They should be done with the ideas and with the developing the bridge, and then they should ask for the money. But, you know, I'm just a regular citizen. I don't really know too much, but I'm just saying. For the lady who was talking about the Dollar General, Alexander, we didn't even want that Dollar General. We told you that a long time ago. She shouldn't even have to come to this meeting to even talk about the wall. You should have handled it for her instead of Fred saying, telling the representative to talk to her. You should have handled that, you know. And then for the city manager not getting, for the city manager turning down the job, I think us as the people, we need to remember that they wasn't, this left side right here wasn't listening to us. So when it come down to re-election, Juan Figueroa is the next person up for re-election. So we need to go ahead and get him out and bring somebody else in and break up this left side so that we can have real change. Because this left side, they're against the city. They're against us. I'm not really feeling it. I don't see anything. Sandra, it was on Waterman, right next to the churches and Jack in the Box. It used to be low income. You guys should bring that back over there in that area for the streets is paved. Just build the buildings and then put the people there. I think that would help solve some of the homelessness just a tad bit. And then I think before my time run out, when are we going to meet the people, if I'm saying it right, the dais? When are we going to meet those people? When are you guys going to sit down and have a meeting with them? I'm not too sure if I'm saying the name right, but I don't want to keep rambling on, but yeah, that's all my time.
Please identify yourself.
My name is Claudia Contreras. He's Ricardo Casillas. We are here today because we need you guys' help. I've been trying to build this project since 21. I've been going to the building next door, and it's come next week. We're reviewing your project. We don't know. Now is this application, this other application. We've been paying $3,000, $4,000, and we're going nowhere. And also, I have another situation. We purchased this land in Jefferson. My neighbor is Ali's Restaurant. I'm pretty sure you guys know what restaurant is that one, right? It's one of the oldest restaurants in the city. We've been fighting with this lady over the parking lot. We own the parking lot. She swears that we have an easement, and we have to let her use our property without any payment or just use our property because she's been there for so many years. And we can even use our property. She's the one using our property as a parking lot for her business. She doesn't own the place. She's renting that restaurant. And I'm stuck. I cannot build. I cannot use. I have a restraining order on my property. I cannot use because she decided to take me to court and use my property. And she told me, I'm not going to pay you not one penny. I've been using it for so long without paying taxes. Why am I going to pay you? So I need you guys' help. Building, this is what I wanted to build. We have a bus company, Intermex Transporters. We transport soldiers from different states and other things. So I need you guys' help to see what I can do, where I can go, so I can get my project going and to be able to use my property.
Yeah, we've got somebody going to come over and reach out to you and get some information, further information, so that we can see what we can do to help you out.
Thank you. I have my plans, and this is just a few of the pictures of the things that we wanted to build. We wanted to bring work, jobs for the city to make it look better. The corner we are, it's not that great, but we hope that we can make it look beautiful.
Okay, well, thank you very much, and we'll see what we can do to help you out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheryl Brown, Hardy Brown, Jim Penman.
Hello, Council. Hello, Mayor Pro Tem. I was recently appointed by the State Executive Committee of BAPAC. The president is Hank Hendrick. He's the vice president of the State Executive Committee of BAPAC and the regional director of the southeastern region serving San Bernardino and Riverside counties. My responsibility will be to help further the organization's mission by identifying, documenting, effectuate, educate, developing leadership that will maintain an assertive posture in securing the rights of blacks in the state of California through civic engagement and voter education. And voting for candidates and on issues that enhance the black community. Your agenda item 8, the strategic initiative, and 9, rental housing maintenance standard, fall within BAPAC's purpose. I'm here to support that, and I hope you will do the same. I also hope that you do not repeat the embarrassing selection process for the city manager again. This man and the recruiter knew he was in trouble in Salinas, and they wanted to dump him on us. Shame on you for allowing them to do that and not finding that out in advance. Get your act together and work together. It's really important. BAPAC was founded in 1978 by Willie Brown, Speaker Willie Brown, Tom Bradley, and Merv Dimely, to identify and develop political resources to achieve educational and economic equity for blacks in California. Percy Pinckney, a top aide to Senator Dianne Feinstein, the late Senator Dianne Feinstein, also played a critical role in garnering resources for BAPAC. He passed away a few years ago, but he never gave up the organization. And I heard someone back saying we need to stop talking about race. Well, if black people stop talking about race and they built this country, we'll be in a world of trouble. Black people have to talk about race. And someone back there came back and said, well, we want a Latino city manager. Just now, a few minutes ago. We want a city manager that can be the kind of city manager that Mr. Charles McNeely is. That's the kind of city manager we need to strive for. And I know all of you don't agree up there, but we need to take the next step and go further on this. Okay, that's mine.
Thank you.
Now, I know you don't want to hear from Hardy, but Hardy wrote his down, and he wants me to read it.
Right.
You
Go
want to
ahead,
say
please.
anything before? Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Hardy Brown says that he's lived on the west side since 1961. And he said, I like what you said at your 9/6 meeting. I'm in support of the strategic initiative put together by Mr. McNeely and staff, which is agenda item 8 tonight. I would add that you should put in the government liaison recommendation that the council removed during your last presentation. In my opinion, the state of the city is in good shape with a healthy fund balance and plenty in reserve and steady growth in sales and property taxes. Also, it's my opinion that you have a competent and happy staff of department directors based on their presentation of the strategic plan. The streets and parks and infrastructure are all being improved. The police department is even getting compliments at your meetings. However, there's some things that need your attention. From my observation, you need to review the contract for legal services with Best and Krieger after the fiasco in recruiting and selecting a city manager. This was and is an embarrassment the way it was handled. It should never happen again. This is on you, mayor and council. You must create a climate in the city that will make our staff want to live here. the demographics say that 74% of our employees that work for the city live outside of San Bernardino. 93% of our sworn officers do not live here. I don't blame them. I blame you and me as a citizen. This is why I bring it up. You spent $5.4 million on hazard pay working during the pandemic, which I agree with. With that one decision, I saw $4.1 million leave the city, and only $1.3 million stayed in the city. A question for you to investigate. If we bank with banks in San Bernardino, when we gave the $6.2 million to the United Way of Rancho Cucamonga, does that money leave our city banks and then are deposited in Rancho city banks? Think about it. We have an election coming on May 5th, and I see candidates running against incumbents, and they have slick websites with similar things. The mayor told me over the phone that she's not behind them, so I'm under the belief that it has to be the police association candidates. I want the community to know that 20 of our police officers live in the city to pay taxes, yet they want to select the people to govern us while we're giving them 93 cents out of every dollar. And that's for them to take to other communities.
Thank you very
about
much.
it.
Jim Penman.
Mr. Penman.
Jim Penman. Almost a year ago, our mayor, Helen Tran, was elected. Well over 16,000 votes. The majority of those people still support Mayor Tran. I ran against Mayor Tran. I got over 10,000 votes. On election night, I asked my supporters to support Helen Tran. Helen Tran is our mayor. If Helen Tran fails, our city fails. But I don't see support for Mayor Tran on the city council. I understand that the council got into the habit of fighting with the former mayor, and I understand why. But that should not be the practice. That should not be the rule. Regardless of your opinion of the current charter, we have a mayor elected at large. That mayor is the leader of our city. That mayor needs your respect, and that mayor needs your help. Now, our current city manager, our interim city manager, is Charles McNeely. Mr. McNeely is my former colleague and sometimes mentor. And sometimes he and I had our differences. But if I was up there on the council, I would be supporting Mr. McNeely. Why? Because our mayor, Helen Tran, supports Mr. McNeely. And a mayor needs a city manager in whom she has confidence. Now, I want to talk a bit, not about this Mr. Skeffington or whoever the guy was that was chosen. I don't know what his name was. But I was appalled at the leaks from closed session about this man that led to his turning down the job. Now, if I was on the council, and I never have been, regardless of how I voted, if the mayor and the majority of the council chose a city manager, I would not leak information to the press or be a party of that to undermine the decision of the majority of my colleagues. That is not teamwork. That is not the way a city works. The League of California Cities is it's a large group, but it's a small group, and everybody talks to everybody. And the word's going to get out there that this candidate was chosen by the majority of the people, or the majority of the council, but yet stuff got leaked negatively about him, whether true or false, and I don't really care. It should not have been leaked. What kind of candidates do you think you're going to get in the future? You're not going to get good candidates. You're not going to get the top candidates because they're going to say that's the city that leaks confidential information about the candidates. One other speaker said you need to work as a team. You do need to work as a team. Like it or not, Helen Tran is your leader. I ran against her and I support her. If I support her, why can't you? And I support her candidate, her choice for city manager. You folks need to do the same. Stop this fighting. It not only makes you look bad, it makes our city look bad. We don't need to look bad. By the way, Route 66 is this weekend, 9 to 9. Be sure and show up downtown. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we have one ADA accommodation for Tim Duran. So go
Oh,
ahead and-
okay, that's going to be read
Yes.
into the record. Thank you.
Yes. Well, Mayor, Sandra, Teddy, Fred, and Juan, the guy you paid to be the city manager decided not to be our city manager. Open your eyes and look for people who will work, who will not be your yes person, someone who will do things for the city, not your pocket. I know you don't love the city. If you did, you would listen to the people. I see how Teddy, Sandra, Fred, and Juan looking down on their phone or whatever. Remember, Teddy, your time is coming for re-election. People are not happy with you. Do the right thing. Vote to have Charles McNeely be the permanent city manager or Treasurer Ortiz for city manager.
Thank you very much. That concludes our public comments, and we will move on to the consent calendar.
For city manager update.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, the city manager, I guess we do have a report from the city manager. I'm sorry, I apologize. I'm new at this.
Good morning, good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and council members. This is the city manager report. September and October are a time in which there are a lot of events. So there are a lot of important goings on, but some of the things I'll be talking about are events. But first, a little bit of news. The city has awarded over $2.5 million to 105 small businesses and local nonprofits. 87 local small businesses and 18 nonprofits received the grants that the council authorized as part of ARPA funds. There are approximately $425,000 of the $3 million left, and shortly after the first of the year, a second round of funding will be made available to smaller businesses, all locally based in San Bernardino. So more on that in the coming months. A couple of notable events. We broke ground a couple weeks ago on a new Del Rosa fire station. This will be the first new fire station in the city of San Bernardino in over 2 decades. So we're pleased that that is coming along, and the construction date of completion is expected to be approximately 1 year from now. In addition, the city co-hosted an open house along with San Bernardino Community College District at their Economic Development and Corporate Training Center, which provides custom job training for the employees of local businesses and trade unions. One of the nice things at that event was Chancellor Rodriguez announced that the district has received a $3 million grant to expand the center to provide additional training to local employees. A few things about the library. The library received a $20,000 grant to improve broadband services right here at Feldheim Library. This serves as the backbone for all 4 city branches. The new equipment will allow data speed upgrades of 1 gigabit per second, which will provide critical access for residents without internet service in their homes, as well as the facility here itself. Also on October 14th and 21st, the popular Saturday book sales are returning to Feldheim Library. While there's a nice ongoing sale that goes along in the foyer of books and music and DVDs, this is a large sale, both Saturdays, the 14th and the 21st, in which if you bring a bag and fill it, it costs you $3, and that's probably a year's worth of reading material. For me, it's probably 10 years worth of reading material. We also need the residents' help on 3 different surveys. Currently, we are preparing a city parks master plan. What services and amenities do you want at parks and community centers? We need public input on what the community wants at their city parks. The police are leading a local hazard mitigation plan, which is an emergency plan on how to respond to events such as an earthquake, a fire, or flood. And that plan is being prepared, and input is vital. Finally, the city is submitting a grant, an affordable housing grant, for the next phase over at Arrowhead Grove. As part of that grant requirement, the plan needs community input. All 3 of these surveys are available through the city website at www.sbcity.org. So we encourage folks to participate in one or all of these surveys so that we can move those projects along. Somebody mentioned just a few minutes ago that Rendezvous Back to Route 66 is coming this Saturday in downtown San Bernardino. It is a car show, it is a music fest, it is a food fest, it is a lot of fun. If you are not doing anything on Saturday, please come to downtown San Bernardino. Sort of take you back into time with looking at some of these classic cars that will be on hand. Next week, the San Bernardino Police Department and the community come together for Coptoberfest. This is an open house at the police station which will feature food, music, games, and police demonstrations. It is a family-friendly, fun time to meet your men and women of the San Bernardino Police Department and learn more about the police department. This has been a long time coming. We are excited to announce that on Tuesday, October 17th, the Parks and Recreation Department will be launching a weekly downtown certified farmers market. This is an opportunity where there will be over 20 different vendors selling locally sourced produce sold by local farmers. It's an opportunity to have lunch, to come downtown, and to get fresh and locally sourced fruits and vegetables. This will be starting on the 17th and will be every Tuesday going forward, so we couldn't be happier. This has been in the planning stages for quite some time, and kudos to the Parks Department for getting this off the ground starting next week. And with that, that concludes my report, and I thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. So, Jeff, I did have a constituent reach out to me on social media, and they asked, would we be at any time soon be having it in the evening or on the weekends? I said I would pass that information on. This is, I'm sure Liddy will tell you that this is just the start. If the demand dictates, having it on the weekends or the evenings obviously is the natural follow-up. So if this succeeds, I'm sure that will be following. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think now we can move on to our consent calendar. Can I hear from anybody that wants any polls or questions, please? Starting with on my right.
Move to approve.
Any polls? I've got a motion to approve.
I'll second if there's none.
Okay, motion to approve and
I just have a question.
second in its entirety.
I just have a question.
Who had a question?
I just have a question on
Oh, I'm
number.
sorry, I didn't see you.
Oh,
I
it's
apologize.
okay. Let's have a question on, it says approving an authority that the agency director, I thought we got rid of all those titles.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Good evening. We have one modification to item 9, the adoption of the ordinance amending 15.27 of the San Bernardino Municipal Code regarding rental housing program maintenance standards. We wanted to add in multifamily rental housing program so that we're clear that we're not including single-family rentals.
Thank you very much, duly noted.
And it's a clerical error.
As a clerical error. All right, so it's been corrected. Thank you very much. Anything else? Madam Clerk, if you'll take the roll of the vote.
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Yes.
Councilmember Figueroa?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Calvin?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much. And now we can move on to our discussion item number 23. It is a discussion of crushing and grinding operations in the city, the repeal of Resolution 2020-265, and a development code amendment updating temporary use permits. And the recommendation, I'll let you make your presentation and go with the recommendations.
Could we get the presentation up? So good evening again, Honorable Mayor and distinguished members of the City Council. I'm here this evening to discuss crushing and grinding with you. I'm a little bit late to the party on this one, but I'm hoping to step in, give you some information, have some dialogue, and then come back with some development code amendment or a direction from you on how to move forward. So I wanted to provide some background information. Let me get this squared away. Okay, this is a little bit more than I had thought here. Okay, well, let's get started. So I know that there's been a lot of discussion on the crushing and grinding, and it really, based on my research, it's based on the deposit of construction materials at the Oxbow property, and that seemed to be the big controversy related to crushing and grinding. So you all know much more about that particular component than I do, but I've done quite a bit of research here. And I know that there's a lot of concerns from the community about potential environmental impacts, health impacts, and whatnot. So I wanted to go through just the history. We know this is kind of what triggered the conversation. Mayor and City Council adopted Resolution 2020-265, restricting crushing and grinding back in October 2020. So I won't go in detail on that permit, but I do know one of the items referenced in that, that temporary resolution was to come back with a development code amendment. And so that will be, kind of where we likely end up at the end of the conversation. Per that direction, staff went back and started preparing a development code amendment back in September 2022, based on direction from the City Council. They did bring forward the items to Planning Commission. The Planning Commission did have a number of meetings discussing the topic in October, November, December, and January. And based on that, there was a lot of discussion. The staff brought forward a lot of information on crushing and grinding, but the commission ultimately denied the development code amendment. And so that brings us forward to February 2023, where the City Council, directed the Planning Commission to render a decision. At that time, the Planning Commission adopted a resolution recommending status quo, which was to retain this resolution and deny any amendments to the development code. So since that time, the City Council has requested us to come back with a further discussion on the crushing and grinding. And I know there was some other options perhaps on the table about the commission directing commission to take action or bring it potentially a development code amendment directly to council. Okay, so at this time, the current resolution remains in effect. And we conducted a pretty thorough, I think, analysis. Some of the information I'm sure you're all familiar with. The crushing is the large pieces of aggregate concrete that are crushed using heavy equipment in smaller pieces. And then grinding is just grinding those materials further down into smaller particles using equipment like rollers. Here's some examples. We just want to show some pictures of, operations related to it. You can see the larger aggregate on the top slide and being crushed to smaller particles on the lower slide. Generally, what we're seeing is when there's crushing and grinding, it's large buildings, large construction projects, bridges. So this is an example of the Laguna Mall demolition, so it kind of gives you a bird's eye picture of that operation as it occurred. Let's go back. Okay, there we go. Okay, so when do you have crushing and grinding operations? Okay, there's a couple scenarios here, and one is with bedrock, and I know that was brought up. I know one of the speakers brought it up. And yes, when you have bedrock and you're doing a development, there's a number of processes you would go through. You would analyze, if you do need to do, first thing you would do is have to blast or use, heavy equipment, jackhammers and such to actually break up the bedrock. And that is analyzed, when you have a project, that's analyzed at the very beginning of that project coming through. You have your geologists out there, you know where your bedrock's going to be and what you need to do, what type of blasting you need to do at the beginning of a project. In San Bernardino, and I'll come to the slide, it's pretty much at the northern portion along the fault line. So there's very limited areas that you're going to see any bedrock related to projects. And I'm not sure there's been much actually that's occurred in the city where you've actually had to do blasting, but that is one of the areas. The other area is structure demolition, buildings, the mall, large projects. Definitely the debris that was brought to the Oxbow site was from a large building. And then bridges. You're going to have large bridges. We see a lot of crushing and grinding that Caltrans does throughout the state of California. In some cases, it is near residential. Many cases, it's in between interchanges. But usually they are the larger buildings, 100,000 square feet. Many times when you're crushing and grinding, the intent is to reuse that material on site. So if you're going to need some fill on the site, you might crush that material. Or concrete, you might need to use concrete, you can reuse that material as well. So recycling is one of the key components when you're using concrete. It's very costly to transport to the landfill, and then there's diversion requirements that the developers are required. They can't bring all their construction debris to the landfills. So what are the options? They can bring them to other locations that do crushing and grinding, one of the concrete plants that may have it, or mining operations. Let's see, okay, and this is just to give you an idea of the bedrock map. Along the foothills, you have some over at Little Mountain, but pretty limited locations. A lot of those areas are up in the hillside. So limited, there's going to be limited development up in those areas. But as I mentioned, that type of blasting, or if they needed to do crushing and grinding on the site, would be part of the CEQA analysis done for a new project. Okay. Crushing and grinding versus removal. Sorry about this. Sometimes when you switch programs on PowerPoint, it does some interesting things. So on-site. So when you have a building on site, and like, for example, and I'll come to the mall because it's in our city and we are doing some crushing and grinding over there. A lot of those materials, we'll be able to reuse that on site. There's a really great opportunity. The materials are there. Aside from, doing the various phases for the environmental, any environmental hazards there, that's a separate analysis. But you will be able to reuse a lot of that on site. And generally, that's what most developers, like to do. Even with Caltrans, when they are doing crushing and grinding on site next to a bridge, they're probably reusing some of that material in the base of the road, or in some cases, if it's all concrete, they may be able to, reuse that in building. So on-site reuse. Cost is a big factor for the developer. Is it going to cost me more to bring the debris to the landfill, or crush it and grind it on site, or reuse it? And cost is a big factor to be considered. However, I think for the city, the bigger factors are the environmental impacts. What are the environmental impacts to on-site versus on-site? And, we can go through and, really talk about, the crushing. There's going to be certainly particulate matter that comes from the, the crushing, especially the grinding on site. And there's a lot of mitigation measures that can be in place with that. The other side, when you're removing the items, you're analyzing, okay, what is the impact additionally of picking up all that material, dumping it in the trucks, and then trucking it out to another facility? What are the emissions? So what is the right answer? Well, based on experience, we could, say that, potentially on-site is less impactful or removal. It really is on a case-by-case basis from an environmental perspective. Noise, what's the noise? And you would do noise studies. What kind of noise impacts are we going to have here? And how can it comply with the city's noise ordinance? So that's a critical factor. Water quality. When they're crushing the materials, what's in the materials, is there water quality impacts? And when we're looking at these, there's other permits that other agencies require as well for the on-site crushing. So it really is, what is the answer? And it is going to be on a case-by-case basis on what the impacts are. So for example, on-site crushing and grinding might be the best option, to reduce transportation costs, reusing the materials on site, reducing the need for virgin materials, reducing the amount of waste to landfills, roadway wear maintenance, reducing greenhouse gas emissions through the reduction of truck trips. Removal might be a better option in some cases. Usually that's going to be on smaller projects, but not always, where the debris can be easily trucked off site. And maybe there's another location that material might be used depending on location. Environmentally, it could be, less impactful with the removal considering truck trips, emissions, dust. But again, it has to be analyzed on a case-by-case basis. I think the most important part of either the on-site crushing or removal is, what are the mitigation measures? What are the appropriate measures to secure the site either way and reduce the potential impacts? Environmental review, I kind of touched on that. Let me see here. Touched on noise, air quality, air quality analysis. We have air quality experts, and I did want to note, I did have one of our air quality, well-known air quality expert and noise consultant that had planned to be here tonight, unfortunately had a medical emergency today and was not able to make it. Perhaps at another meeting where we're talking project specific, we can get him in here because those are the experts that you want to have on a case-by-case basis analyze a project site. That's what we do under CEQA. When we're reviewing projects, and I'll just kind of, let me see what's the next slide, see if it covers, yeah, okay, well, let's kind of go to this slide here. Okay, so when we're reviewing these projects from an environmental standpoint, and most of the time, you're going to do some analysis at the beginning. If you're going to do a new development project, you're going to analyze it under CEQA. You're going to have your air quality consultant. They're going to analyze for both removal and on-site demolition. Same with noise. What's the impacts? What are the noise impacts? What are the water quality impacts? You're going to get that up front, and you're going to know what the best course for that particular project is, which is the least environmental impact. So, and it varies by city, state, county on how it's operated. And I think historically, it seems like most of the crushing and grinding in recent history has been, at least in California, has been Caltrans related. We're just now seeing the redevelopment of large buildings, of malls, large, we might even see some warehouse type buildings that have been built in the last 30 years that are already poised for reuse. So those are the types of buildings that we're going to be seeing. So we're going to be seeing more of this. So I think it is important for the city to really take a look at what are our requirements for this going forward. How do we want to handle this? Because there's going to be situations that there's one choice or another. You got to tear down a building. Do you crush it and remove it and take it off? Or do you do it on site? There may not, those are your two options. So what do you do? What's the least impactful process to go by? And what are the mitigation measures? And this is where, I think it's important for the city to have that control. And cost can be a factor. The developers are looking at costs to make their project viable. But I think especially in our air quality basin, we want to make sure, we're looking at the least environmental impact. So permitting processes, normally it's through the permitting processes. Many cities, it's not a big issue. They're not seeing too much of it. With the independent analysis, our consultant did look at a few cities. I will say there was quite a bit of research done prior to the Planning Commission meeting by the former planning deputy director on the crushing and grinding, what other ordinances. There was a draft ordinance that is similar to some of the few that are out there. There's not too many ordinances out there. It can be done under a grading permit, building permit. There's different levels of environmental analysis. You know, some do more than others. Certainly, when you're doing it on site, you do need permits for South Quality Air Quality Management District, SQAQMD, Regional Water Quality Board. You need permits. You know, whenever you're doing any type of construction or demolition, there's some permit needed by that state water board to ensure that you are doing your best management practices. What did I have? Okay, and then, you know, the CEQA document, and this is what I think we're going to see more like on the mall, I think I'll touch on our mall because it was a very different situation, but like in some of the other cities, when they're ready to do a bigger project, they are doing some type of CEQA document. You know, I would say the magnitude of the crushing and grinding that we're seeing on these big projects is generally going to be related to an EIR, because sometimes you are going to have, you know, impacts that cannot be mitigated, and then you are going to do some statement of overriding considerations. So that's where the CEQA document comes in. If there's no impacts, it could be a mitigated negative declaration if you can mitigate all the impacts. So we did do the independent analysis that was conducted by through Public Works to just really get some history out there, get some independent research on, and we included that in your report. I've kind of highlighted a lot of that information in the staff report. They did go through some specific cities and kind of what they've done. So that is included. I had planned for MD Acoustics to be here. They've actually been on site on several crushing and grinding operations, actually one in Upland, and they also evaluate various mines across the country. So they're pretty well versed, and so hopefully we can get them out here for another conversation. And then Development Code Amendment. Let me just touch on that. So we have the Development Code Amendment that was prepared. This went to the Planning Commission. This is what the Planning Commission denied. Overall, it includes, you know, a lot of really good information. I think the big variable here for discussion is going to be the 1,000 feet for crushing and grinding adjacent to residential. Right now, the temporary or the resolution says you cannot crush and grind within 1,000 feet. So the temporary use permit section for the Development Code did not include that, and I think the Planning Commission, and that was probably one of the key reasons they did not approve this. I wasn't there, so I don't want to opine on or misrepresent something that the Planning Commission, you know, what their actions were, but I did include the staff reports for your consideration. I think one of the good things that we included in this ordinance, and we can take it back, you know, based on council direction, make some modifications or bring it back to you for consideration, was the exporting of materials crushed on site to be crushed on site are strictly prohibited. I think that's really the big component we want to make sure in a Development Code Amendment, is that we are not allowing anyone to bring construction materials onto any piece of property to be you know, further recycled there for crushing and grinding. That's what happened in the Oxbow. That's what's put us in this situation. So we definitely want to prohibit any of that happening. As far as having crushing and grinding in the city, at some point you're going to face this again. We have it at the mall. It's going to be contained. That really is the best environmental option at that particular location based on the information we have. I'm not familiar with all the studies, but you likely will see this again. You know, there could be other buildings downtown that are really large that is the only option to get that material out. We could have some buildings in some of the older areas that might be next to residential and that's where you do the analysis. That's where you do the analysis. And that's where you have the experts come in to prepare that expert analysis so that you can make that decision. And let's see, okay, and I want to touch on the legalities of the Carousel Mall because it was come up and I was asked to, kind of give you some history on that. I know there was a number of questions on how that came about. And so we did do some research. I did want to say the demolition determination was made in October 26, 2022. This was when, I think you were having a lot of issues with vandalism and fires in the building. And the building just needed to be addressed, and the demolition was probably the best way to do that because of its size, and trying to secure the building was not very successful. The notice of exemption was filed on February 13th, 2023. It was based on the requirements under CEQA, under the emergency situation that we had, so that actually gave the go-ahead to continue with the demolition. And then there's the component as we go forward with the on-site crushing and grinding aspect. And let's see if I had any other good notes here for you. So, really, I have the recommendation here, but really in conclusion, as we move forward for addressing, large-scale concrete, rock, building, asphalt, or other hard materials on properties, it really comes down to two options: remove materials from the property or crush and grind on site. And so for that, my recommendation is we do the appropriate environmental analysis. We have the appropriate experts, and either the developer can hire them directly, and most of the firms out there, you're going to get the same analysis, whether the developer hires it or the city. The developers, and each city's different on how they handle that, but you could have the developer, hire the consultants to prepare the analysis, and then the city can conduct a peer review of that, which is very common. And many environmental documents, especially ones that are controversial, the city will bring in their experts to peer review the developers' consultants. Very common, so that's an option there. And there may be certain situations that the city just wants to bring in and hire your environmental consultant directly. We may want to have our environmental consultant do the analysis. That is something we also can do, and if it's developer related, we can have the developer pay for that analysis as part of their process. So with that, I wanted to, give you the opportunity to discuss the repeal of the resolution 2020-265, discuss the development code amendment, sorry about the typo, section 19.70.035B, and then provide additional direction to staff regarding the topics discussed. And finally, on the resolution, so I would recommend that you, whatever decision, whatever direction you want to go and however you want to handle crushing and grinding, we'll bring that back to you. But at least do it as a form of a development code amendment. The development code amendment is in your municipal code. That is your law. So when the developers come into the city, they're looking at those codes. The resolution's there, but your planning staff, if they come in, they're looking for, where is it in your code that says this? And right now we have a resolution for the interim, but we do want to memorialize that in a development code amendment, whatever your decision is. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much. Now we can open it up to the dais. Anyone like to speak on this or ask questions or make comments? Okay, I don't have anybody. Oh, I'm sorry. Somebody raise their hand. Let me know. Go ahead,
Well,
Ms. Ibarra.
I put the request, but I don't know if it shows on your end.
I looked both ways.
Ms. Mary, thank you. It's been a long-awaited report that we've been requesting here at the dais because there is a lot of confusion within community members and even ourselves. I know I was here in 2020 when we did that resolution, and the main concern was that they transported material from another site. That was the main concern without staff knowing. So we had to do something back in 2020. I want the public to know that I have heard both sides. I have heard of people who live and don't live near that area that wanted gone, sent off. And when it gets sent off, where is it going to go? Is it going to go into the 6th Ward, or is it going to go up to Rialto area off the 210 freeway? There's other members in the community who also live close and far to that site who said, let's crush on site, let's develop our city. We're wasting time. It's been 5 years now. And what are the chances that maybe the soil is already impacted? So when I make my vote, just know that I'm taking into consideration every single comment that has come before us, what staff has provided, and you know, I'm trying to be as open-minded as possible, trying to help everybody. And I don't know if you're aware, Ms. Mary, but this particular project, the Oxbow, for example, has had a change of hands several times. Personally, I don't think it's fair that we impose this hardship on the new developers because they had nothing to do with transporting that material. But now here we are, and we have to address it, but I do want to thank you for your report, and I would go with the staff recommendation of having the experts come out and look at that location. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Calvin? Councilmember Alexander? Okay.
Thank you, Mary, for your report, and I appreciate what you have done in hopping into this particular situation. I know it cannot be easy filling in as such. It just cannot be, so I really do appreciate what you did. But you have a lot of, you're not the subject matter expert, and what I would like is the subject matter experts to come in and share with us what the legality is, or maybe the city attorney can do the legality part, and the subject matter experts on all other phases of this particular subject be done. Now, you said they were here and some were sick and so forth and so on.
Actually, we do have a representative, I believe, from Ultra Systems that prepared the independent analysis.
Well,
they are here, if you have
okay,
questions
well,
for them.
if they're here, then I don't know about the rest of my council mates, but I would like to hear from them. I mean, being that the public is always leery of the city and what we do sometimes, you know, it's good that somebody from outside the city presents reports that I don't know them, I have no dog in this fight, but it's just nice to hear from somebody outside the city, because sometimes the public can believe it can be jaded, right? You know, the city is slanting one way or the other. And from a third party, it might come with a little more validity, if you know what I mean. So if someone's here, and I don't know about the council, I don't know if they have time, or if they want to hear from them. I don't know if they can do that or not.
Ms. City Attorney, do you have any comments on this at this point?
Before we listen to them, I got you.
I guess the question would be, do you have specific questions? How would it help you make a decision this evening?
Well, I don't know, it was just gathering information. I don't think we're making a decision. Are we making a decision this evening?
Well, we
Just
do have a
information,
decision
right?
to be made to repeal or not, and then give staff direction to come back with a development code amendment.
Part of the direction to staff could be that you, and the only reason I know this is because Councilmember Alexander had previously reached out to me, and when I say previously, I mean months ago, talking about the concept of having professional staff, and I didn't, you know, there's a transition to new people, but I do recall what you had requested in terms of professional experts providing you information. So part of your provide additional direction to staff could be what you just requested, and that they come back with a tailored presentation to address their issues. I don't know.
Right, and am I correct that we need to keep this discussion? This is not about the Oxbow issue. This is about a development code and a current resolution that we're deciding whether we should repeal it or not, and then giving staff direction to come back with a development code amendment and recommendations. So the decision that we will be voting on tonight is the repeal of the one resolution. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
So we can come back with spoken.
So, Mr. Alexander,
Well, Mayor Pro Tem, I mean, like I said, I enjoy Mary's presentation, but experts from the various fields that could present us information are not here.
no, but they've just said that will come back when they come back with the development code amendment. They will come back with experts to talk about it, and then we can decide whether we're going to approve that amendment to the development code at that time.
Right.
There is an action for one item.
To repeal.
It's item number one under discussion, discussed the repeal. I mean, we can discuss it.
Right. The
We don't
purpose
even
of
have to
tonight
repeal
was
it.
just to discuss it, for you to get this presentation from staff and to give feedback. What do you need? What more information, so that they can come back and present to you the repeal. You do not have the repeal before you tonight. No. You don't have the resolution to
Okay, so
repeal the
it's not to
resolution.
vote on the repeal, it's to discuss the repeal.
You can give direction.
We can give you direction.
For example, direction. Please prepare the resolution that will repeal the former resolution. Or don't bother preparing the resolution to repeal the resolution. Or we don't have enough information to make that decision. That's the discussion part. But you are not being asked to act on the resolution of repeal, and you are not being asked to act on the development code amendment.
So I'm asking, at least I don't have enough information to repeal, and that's why I asked for the various subject matter experts to come before this dais to provide more information about these various topics which you discussed in your presentation. Like I said, I believe you, but for a matter of transparency and believability with the public at hand, if you can please bring back those subject matter experts.
Right, and
Go ahead, please, Mr. City Manager.
Mayor Pro Tem, that was the individual that was unable to be here, was scheduled, but he was sick. Excuse me. So we can bring him back for you if you want to direct us to do that.
Well, I make that motion that we come back with those subject matter experts, whether it be CEQA or any other people or that comes before us before we move on this particular issue.
And that's one option, as well as
I'll
directing
second.
us to come back with the.
Coming back with at least a start with a draft of a development code amendment, right?
You can do that, or if you say, we don't want to bring this back and it's, not to move forward, you can do that as well.
Okay, well, I think there's consensus. Go ahead, Mr. Sanchez.
There's two parts to this. The first, are you not done?
Okay.
Well, that wasn't my motion. My motion was that you come back with us, come back before this body with those subject matter experts at the various departments, including CEQA or whatever, but come back with those so we can have further information and we can be better educated about what's going on. And maybe even have legal counsel give legal advice and not Mary, because Mary is not legal. Even though she can regurgitate what's happening, I'd rather have legal do it than Mary. That's.
Mr. Reynoso.
And I second that motion.
Okay.
I want to be on the record very clearly that there's no way in hell that I'm repealing a 1,000-foot ordinance with residences. But I have a question. I don't know who's the most appropriate to answer. Maybe you do, from Older Systems. I want to know how common it is to grind or crush cement materials within city limits. I can't engage him. Do you have the answer? I know it's not common. I just want to hear it. People need to hear that.
Would you
That it's
repeat the
not-
question, please?
Where does this happen
It's-
inside of city limits in the state of California? Is it common? Is it not so common?
Well, freeways.
Rare? I'm talking to our staff.
Okay. So we have a number, So I would say it's not an everyday occurrence, but based on the analysis, there are a number of projects going on throughout California and the country where there's crushing and grinding within city limits.
But larger projects typically. It's not like a standard across the board.
Typically larger projects and freeway projects.
Okay. That's it for now. The motion was not to bring back a repeal. If somebody else wants to do that, you can do that, but I second to bring the experts back so we can have a full conversation and then give you real direction on this.
Okay. Mr. Sanchez?
Yeah, I think this is a two-pronged question here. First one is well, first of all, I have something I have to get off my chest here. Majority of the council voted to direct staff to bring back a resolution repealing Resolution 20-265, and that did not come back. It came back as a discussion. A majority of the council directed staff to bring back a draft resolution repealing the resolution I just mentioned, and that didn't come back. So part of my motion, my substitute motion, will be to direct staff to bring back that resolution that repeals Resolution 2020-265 and issues a written notice directing the Planning Commission in accordance with the Government Code to render within 40 days its report on crushing restrictions of unfinished material within 1,000 feet of residentially zoned property. That was already voted for. A majority of the council voted to support that, and that didn't come back. So I will make that motion to have that come back. As a second
That's
prong,
a substitute motion.
that's my substitute motion. The second prong of this is to also include a staff, to have staff bring back a draft of a development code amendment regulating any future crushing on-site within city limits that will include mitigating measures, requirements, thresholds, et cetera, et cetera. So those are the two parts. That's my substitute motion. Again, bring back the resolution repealing the current resolution in place, and second, bring back a draft of a development code amendment on regulating crushing on-site in the city of San Bernardino.
I have a second from Councilmember Figueroa. Further discussion? Anybody?
Why can't we do all of that? Why can't we?
We have a motion.
Right, I understand. But why can't we do what I motioned and then do what Sanchez, Councilmember Sanchez said as well, in addition?
When drafting a draft, are you okay with them bringing back experts?
Yeah, that's
Sure.
You know, we don't have any crushing experts in-house, so of course they're going to have to bring in people. They're going to have to bring in experts. They're going to help draft an amendment code or an amendment to the development code that becomes part of city law. Of course, they're going to have to do that, and that will be reflected in the development code's presentation to this council. So when that development code is brought forward, it's going to have expert input on this. It's going to guide the city in the foreseeable future on how we regulate crushing on site in our city.
We have a motion and a second. Call for the vote, please.
Councilmember Sanchez?
Can you repeat the motion, please? The substitute motion. I want it clear for everyone here and everyone in the audience.
Okay. Is the motion, is it including the requests of Councilmember Alexander?
No, the expert testimony, of course, add that in there as expert testimony. It's going to come in and present the development code amendment. So when that development code amendment, that draft is presented to this council, it will have someone here, it'll have between legal, our in-house staff, as well as the experts hired to help draft this development code ordinance. They'll be here to testify to why the development code will look like this and not like this. So of course, that'll be included.
Okay, so direct staff to bring back a resolution repealing Resolution 2020-265. Include staff to bring back a draft development Development Code amendment to regulate crushing and grinding, and include bringing back subject matter experts to the meeting as well.
Yeah, and so I think as part of bringing back the resolution, repealing that original resolution that was put in place back in 2020, we need to give written notice directing Planning Commission to render within 40 days a report on crushing restrictions in the city.
Did this motion just grow?
No, that was part of it. That was part, you want to know something? We approved this back in February.
Oh,
A
okay.
majority of this council approved that.
Okay,
That was
okay.
part of the motion.
We have a substitute motion. It's been clarified, it's been read, we understand it, we have a second to that. Yes, sir, please.
And actually appreciate how you started, Councilman Sanchez, with the discussion, because actually, I don't want to put you on the spot. We had discussions about when that passed and the Planning Commission basically wanted to forbid it within the city limits, that on this agenda, when it was discussed, we would see repeal, and also we would see like forbidding crushing and grinding in the city limits. And so I see it as a disservice, Councilman, if you'll entertain the opposite and allow for the forbidding the grinding and crushing to also come simultaneous so that we can have a full discussion. Because it feels like we're bypassing the real discussion by not having subject matter experts here. And although I appreciate them coming, if you have something in your face that says, do what you want to do, likelihood of human nature is you're not really going to listen fully and change your mind on something like that. So I just ask that you entertain the opposite as well.
The
A
resolution.
development code that would forbid grinding and crushing within city limits, and then we could have a discussion on temporary use, et cetera. But I don't want to see it just come back as repeal the limit and allow for this within city limits.
So what you're asking is for essentially, okay, so we would have.
Two options.
We have the resolution repealing the original resolution passed in 2020. It's mine. Then we have, and you'll get the opportunity to vote that down to keep that resolution in place. But then this is where you want a mirroring of a development code amendment. One that both reads, allow the crushing on site with mitigating measures and thresholds, and then you would want a development code draft that restricts or completely denies crushing on site within city limits.
Exactly.
That's essentially asking for the staff to come back and defend one side or the other.
I believe in the past, we've had staff present both sides, and we have to pick one or the other.
I'm just not sure that we've ever had competing ordinances presented. Have we ever had competing ordinances? Smith City Attorney, you're going to know our municipal code more than anyone else, but I doubt it very much.
I have not prepared competing ordinances during my tenure, so I can only speak to my tenure.
Is it illegal?
It's not illegal to have them, it's giving you more information, but I think usually what we have is clear direction, and so we prepare to the clear direction we receive. And I think tonight's item was meant to achieve the clear direction so that we could prepare the document and come back to you.
So I'm trying to work here on a compromise, and I believe on the merits of the case and science and reality that we're on the right side here. So I'd be willing to amend this. Let's bring back what council originally asked for, a majority of this council back in February. Bring back that resolution repealing resolution, what was it? That one. Passed in 2020. Bring a draft of that resolution repealing that original resolution. Bring that back. And the second part would, before drafting a municipal code municipal code amendment or development code amendment, bring back expert testimony so at that point we hear what the experts and the scientists have to say, and at that point we can give clear direction on how the development code will be amended. I just changed my
That's your
substitute
substitute
motion.
And
Are you fine with that?
okay, and your second is okay?
Oh, jeez. So if you can bring back a resolution repealing, and I want to make sure I get the resolution right. What is it? 2020, oh yeah, there it is, dash 265. Bring back a draft resolution repealing resolution number 2020-265. It's the first part. Second part, bring back a fully vetted expert testimony, white paper study, bring the scientists, bring the experts, have them give their presentation to this council, and at that point, we can then vote on repealing the resolution as well as the direction that the Development Code Amendment will take, whether it's a restrictive, whether it's regulating, whether it's barring any crushing in the city. Do you understand? Yeah. Okay.
Ms. Mary, just a quick question. I know you mentioned about the bedrock and the blasting. Is that something we're going to be adding to the ordinance? Because that was never mentioned in the past, and you mentioned it today in your report.
Yeah, that was something that came up in the research. I think that would be addressed on a case-by-case basis. As the blasting is really separate. Some cities have ordinances on blasting. Usually they're under the fire department because you need to get specific permits. So it's a situation that's out there, but I wouldn't include it with this particular discussion that you have. It was for informational purposes.
Okay, yeah, because we had the speaker talking, we are close to the San Andreas Fault, so I want to make sure that we're not jeopardizing.
Right.
For
Anyone
some of
that's
the
doing
projects.
blasting, it would be recommended by a geologist. They would have geotechnical experts do the analysis before they even consider building a project.
Okay, thank you.
The question. Call for the vote.
Councilmember Sanchez?
Yes.
Councilmember Ibarra?
Yes.
Councilmember Figueroa?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
Councilmember Reynoso?
Yes.
Councilmember Cavan?
Yes.
Councilmember Alexander?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
I'm sorry? Yeah. Thank you very much for us all working well together, as we've been asked to do. And we'll now move on to the mayor and council updates. We'll start with Councilmember Sanchez.
Yes, as San Bernardino, our San Bernardino Police Department is hosting Coptoberfest next Wednesday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. It's a great family event. I went last year. Weather's, what was it, the 7th? Oh, till 7, okay, till 7 p.m. Well, until they kick you out. So that's a beautiful event. It's at our police station. So come out, say hello to some cops, bring your kids. They'll be handing out a lot of stuff. There'll be a lot of activities. It's a beautiful time. The Inland Empire Senior Games is wrapping up this Friday. That was hosted by Parks and Rec. And they're holding their senior health fair from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. At the 5th Street Senior Center. And there'll be lunch, free health screenings. They're doing vaccinations, all sorts of things. So if you're a senior or know a senior, give them a ride over to this event. There will be a Fire Station 221 open house this Saturday from 11 to 2. The address is 200 East 3rd Street. Meet your local firefighters and check out some of the latest firefighting equipment and get a hands-on demonstration of CPR. That'll be fun. And, oh, yeah, and so the last thing I have for you guys, I had a phone call from Brian Whitehead, who's our local beat reporter for the Sun newspaper. And he's moving on to, I guess, bigger and better things. I'm sad to lose him because he's always been very fair, has taken a real love for the city, even if he wasn't born and raised here. He really contributed a tremendous amount, and having a free, fair press is an essential ingredient in democracy and in a responsive government. And plenty of studies have shown that where there isn't a robust free press, corruption and mismanagement happen at the higher levels. So He did a great job of being a guardian of democracy in our little corner of the world. I want to thank him for what he did for our city for many years. Sad to see him leave. And now we have David Allen, who will probably try to, fill some of the slack, but I'm not expecting much. But maybe we'll get someone in there who can. I enjoy your articles, by the way. They're great. But let's get another Brian Whitehead in our city to report on everything that happens late Wednesday nights, first and third Wednesdays of every month. So thanks, Brian, for everything you did. We miss you already.
Yes, thank you. September 13th, I was at the IVDA with our mayor and Councilmember Figueroa, and I'm glad to report that for the IVDA, we did move forward with approving translation services. There's an outcry of community members who don't understand English or are illiterate, and the translation services will be very beneficial to them, so they know what's going on in their neighborhoods that are being affected. September 19th through the 22nd, I was up in Sacramento representing our city at the League of California Cities. I was able to take refreshers on ethics and harassment, and being an elected official, we want to make sure that we perform to the best capacity that we can without harassing anybody in our city or doing unethical work. Main things that were being discussed were homelessness, actually, and what I took away, we had the city of Sacramento, the city of Rialto presenting their what they're doing to address homelessness in their cities. But one takeaway was that no two cities are the same. They said we can use what Austin, Texas is doing or other cities, but it might not work for our population who we're dealing with. And so going on that, today I did attend the Central Valley Homeless Provider Network. It's a regional group that focuses on the cities here closest to our city. And I was very vocal, and I said that any nonprofits that are operating in our city, again, if they have beds, to notify our staff in our city, because if we are not all together on the same playing field of knowing who has beds available, we won't be able to serve our unsheltered population. So we're trying to get those numbers, and for those who have been following the meetings, we went from having only 100 beds accounted for to almost 400 within 3 months. So I'm gonna keep being vocal. When I go to the next ICH meeting, I'm gonna address the other neighboring cities to do their part also, to step up. That the homelessness problem that we have in our city does not only affect our city, it affects everybody nationwide. Today we also had Dollars for Dogs event held at the Mexico. They finished at 9, so I have here Mr. Rico. I got him from my little partner in crime today, in case. So that's why he's here. It was a canine fundraiser by our San Bernardino Police Department. And on September 27th, I attended the State of the County. Of course, we had some automations from Garner Holt up on stage, and it was nice to see every different district supervisor address or share with us what they're doing in their specific regions within the county. So that was something, a good takeaway for the State of the County. And then on October 14th, I'll be attending the Hispanic Coalition of Small Businesses event called the Latinissima Awards Dinner. And it's the theme is Rumbo a la Cima, the road to heaven, I will say, or to the heights. That's it for me for today. Thank you.
Councilmember Reynoso.
I'll be brief tonight. Just wanted to invite some people out. Just San Bernardino has been doing a series of workshops on community benefits agreements. I know we haven't talked about it in a long time, but people should be aware of the opportunity around projects like Staples Center that was built in downtown LA, the old Oakland Air Force Base or military base up there, what came with that, the kind of local hire employment that came after that, the employment of veterans, et cetera. Research study and annual dedication to research to make sure that a project is delivering on its promise. So I want to invite everybody at Barrio Fuerza right here in downtown in the corridor, and David Freeman's a lot. I also want to thank David Freeman. I was meeting with an organization today who works primarily with street vendors. I know that you know. I work very closely with them. But there's a legitimate group that are totally permitted, and they're trying to do something, and he's already given them the land. So Charles, I'd like to sit down and discuss that with you. How do we help that move forward because David's in full support. It's his land. And it's a great opportunity to provide some more food while we're in the process of what I greatly appreciate, bringing businesses to our downtown, especially restaurants. Want to inform the public that I'm focused on trying to figure out how to get better businesses where these 7-Elevens were. They finally demolished the one by Shannon Hills, but we have to make sure that we're not getting something that the community doesn't want right there. It's very close to the residences, extremely close to the school. In the beginning, I tried to get the school, their acquisition department, about 1.5 years ago, to basically take that property. Like, let's do something with the school, something related to the school. Dr. Funches told me very politely, like, we don't want anything to do with that, man. Like, not right now. So I'm gonna give him a call this week too. But I want people to know that I haven't forgotten about those, and the one way on Palm that burnt from the inside. You have your own opinions on that, but it needs to be repurposed. It needs to be turned to something else. And I just want to thank Ernesto Salinas for taking up the helm for Public Works. You've been doing a hell of a job, man. I know it's not an easy job, and bear with us. It's a lot. We ask a lot of you, we know. But I want to thank our Public Works team, as always. Curb repairs, street repairs, prompt, very responsive, and people are seeing them out there and being able to talk to them, you know, having great conversations while they're getting the repairs that they've asked for a very long time. So thank you. And that's it for me.
Thank you. Councilwoman Calvin, please.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I appreciate that. I know that most of everyone has gone, but I want to thank, as I always do, everybody for coming out and giving their comments and letting us know their concerns, because we do know that there are a lot of them. And I just want folks to know that we are concentrating on them. It may not always come across that clear, and we may not always agree, and we're not going to always agree. But I think the most important part, what folks do need to know, is that for myself, each and every time that I get to serve you on this dais, I will bring my most authentic self. And my most authentic self is wanting to make sure that you all know that I will do my absolute best to continue to serve the city of San Bernardino. And that is by voting with my best conscience and by voting with what I hear the community also stating what they want and what they need. With that being said, I did also attend the State of the County, and that was very informative. It was very good to see how the region was growing. I attended Sahaba Initiative, their luncheon, their gala. This is an organization that is continually to serve San Bernardino and Riverside by being a major contributor and giving to some of the very things, the essential things that we need in life. One of the things I was most impressed with them is that as they continue to give food to the community, they're starting their pantry that will look like a grocery store. So that humility is given whenever someone needs or is in need of food. They get to take a grocery cart or a basket and just walk around the pantry and pick up what they want versus just being handed whatever we want to give them. I thought that was, really, really, really something that we could also take a look at here in our city, so that it is a grocery pantry. It is not just something that we're just handing out that looks like, someone, we don't know what's in it. But I thank everybody, every nonprofit in this city, though, who does give food to our community members. I did attend SCAN, had come from Sacramento on behalf with Mrs. Brown. She sits on a commission for the adults and aging, and it was very, very informative to see the work that is being done here in our community with serving our seniors and our elders. And so I appreciate everybody in Park and Recs that does a lot with our seniors. That really does warm my heart. I did also attend the Bebop Center, had an event where they were celebrating, gave away over $184,000 in entrepreneurial funds. That was really, really, really earth-shaking to me, because what we know is that once someone does have an opportunity and they're given what they need, the services and the resources that they need, that they can thrive. And there were a lot of women businesses that were thriving inside of that building this past Saturday. On Monday, I attended with Councilmember Alexander. We went to Cal State University San Bernardino, where Doreen Dominguez received the Presidential Distinguished Award. They're having a lecture series, and she talked about entrepreneurship too. So that seems to be the buzzword, and it seems to be where we're being able to see folks thriving and giving back as philanthropics as well. into our community and investing. And so that was really important to hear her story. I did attend Arrowhead United Way's A Night of the Stars, as Dr. Gwendolyn Dowdy Rogers mentioned. It's going to be a big, huge event coming up on the 14th that I would hope that everyone would buy a ticket to attend, and that we would also continue to support our Arrowhead United Way. This morning, I stood in for Mayor Tran, Omnitrans Board of Directors meeting. That was very good to be able to attend that meeting as well. Attended the California Native American Day Luncheon that Assemblymember Ramos puts on. It was, you get to see all of these youth that come to Cal State San Bernardino to learn about Native American Day. That was a wonderful event as well. And I don't know how many folks know that we actually have a medical school here. Well, it's in Colton, but it borders were really, really close to San Bernardino, but they are offering folks, students in San Bernardino, the ability to come there with a local privilege, a local preference, I'm sorry. It's important. If you have not been over there, please go take a visit to the California University of Science and Medicine. It is a beautiful place to visit, and we can send our own right to medical school here very closely here in the region. Was able to take a tour to see a navigation center in Oceanside with the city manager and our assistant city manager. This navigation center is on Oceanside, and it is it is managed by the San Diego Rescue Mission. So it was very good to see. We've been talking about our navigation center, but you got to get to one to see how it's actually operating, so that we will have the ideas that we need in order so that we can be successful. And those are the items, those are the places that I've been able to attend the last several weeks. I thank you all.
Thank you. Councilmember Alexander.
Thank you, sir. It's National Red Ribbon Week, so if you all know about National Red Ribbon Week, it's National Red Ribbon Week, so it's a great week. And it's also National Hispanic Heritage Month from September 15th through October 15th, so we're celebrating that as well in the city of San Bernardino. And I attended with Councilmember Calvin the National American Day Luncheon at Cal State. On that same, the next day, Councilmember Reynoso and Councilmember Sanchez, and we all attended the groundbreaking of a new fire station, Fire Station 2. Oh, and Commissioner Junior, you were there too, sir. We're at the Cal State, San Bernardino County. The chairperson, Don Rao, was all over there. And the county had extra cash, Mr. City Manager and everybody else. They said they had a couple of extra $1 million. I lobbied for those extra couple of $1 million to come to our city what they have. Also on September 22nd, I was at the Champion of Choice Luncheon with Councilmember Calvin. The guest speaker was Tony Thurman, the State Superintendent of Instruction. It was a nice luncheon. Attended Blair Park, a neighborhood association with Councilmember Reynoso. Then September 24th, went to the consistory number 273 scholarship banquet at Shandon Hills Golf Course. On the 25th, I attended the IE Foresight Future for a Ready program for the region. It was a full day sponsored by SEAM and the Webb Foundation of how the region's going to look 20 years from now. I have a saying, today is forged by 20 years ago. The present that we're living in now was forged 20 years ago. I'll let that sink in for you, for those who want to get it. So what we do today, we forge 20 years in the future. That's why it is very important. September 27th, open house. I went to the open house hosted by San Bernardino Community College District. I had an opportunity to speak, and Councilmember Calvin was there also with Councilmember Tran, Mayor Tran, and I spoke on partnership with the school, not the school district, partnership with the community college. I also spoke on robotics and how we can work together in the future, because robotics is here, ladies and gentlemen. Also went to the state of the county with my colleagues. I went to also Cesar Chavez. That school is doing an amazing pathway. They are doing robotics, they're doing 3D printing. It is all, and you can go if you want to. It's amazing. It truly is. If you haven't been down to that school, you need to go down there because that's the future. They are printing little robotics. They scan me with this one of the tool that looked like a steamer. They put it on their computer screen, and next thing you know, they're printing up another Damon Alexander. It was absolutely amazing. Them kids are the future. Love them. September 29th, went to a mom mob at Parkdale Elementary. We went up down there and greeted the kids in the morning to tell them to have a great day at school. That's what we do because they are our future. Went to Connect Homes tour to see how they do the shelters. And that's a homegrown manufacturing business in the city of San Bernardino. There we go. There we go. They do great work. That shelter tour, if you haven't taken it, you need to take it. It is absolutely fantastic. October 2nd, went to Cal State with Councilmember Calvin, saw Doreen Noniga. I'll keep it moving. October 3rd, went to the annual Health and Wellness show right there in Court Street where all the city employees came out and got out and we shared and we did fun, and I put in like 1 million tickets and didn't win a thing. But it was fun seeing all the employees out there. It was a nice time. The 6th annual, I was coming today, is the 6th annual JEC at San G. They had their installation tonight of their officers. These are high school kids that deal in businesses. And even though I couldn't stay for their entire program because it's tonight, I just want to wish those kids at San G a bright future because they are business and entrepreneurs. Also today, I went to the San Bernardino County Transportation Authority 50th anniversary. They had it there at San Bernardino Depot. I was there representing the city. They did a great job for 50 years of doing projects in the city of San Bernardino. So that was a nice event, Dollars for Dogs. I was there, Councilmember Calvin was there. What's upcoming? The Color of Hope Gala with one of our city partners, Lutheran Social Services. It's going to be at Mission Inn, 5 p.m. This coming Saturday. October 9th is Indigenous People Day, so that's coming up. And October 11th is the 3rd annual Veterans, Community, and Homeless Operation Stand Down in Paris Hill Park at 10 to 3 p.m. Make sure you get down there. The park is going to be fantastic. And October 31st, we're having our annual 7th Ward Trunk or Treat at Arrowhead Country Club. For information, 909-567-0222. 909-567-0222. Trunk or treat, come on out and serve your community.
Thank you very much, and I'm going to just reiterate an announcement that was made earlier that we've got a big event coming up Saturday. That's the Rendezvous Back to the Route 66. It's always a great day. I'm going to encourage, and I hope that everybody will be out there. It's a very fun day. And my second and last announcement is that it is now 10:24, and it is time for adjournment. So I am adjourning this meeting. The mayor and city council and the mayor and city council acting as a successor agency to the redevelopment agency will adjourn to a regular meeting to be held on Wednesday, October 18th, 2023 at the Feldheim Library located at 555 West 6th Street, San Bernardino, California, 92401. And closed session will begin that evening at 5:30 with the regular session, as always, beginning at around 7 o'clock. Thank you all very, very much for being there and putting up with me tonight.